Well, hello everybody, Trucker Todd here, and time for a very unusual Friday video. Um, I was just going to do like a recorded video and kind of tell you what's been going on today with my truck, things like that. But I figured you guys would prefer it to be more interactive where y'all could ask questions, things like that. And so I'm going to talk about all that tonight. Also going to get to all your comments. Some of you have been waiting a while. And I've got some news on that as well. Effective today, I started the membership portion of YouTube. And there's going to be a lot that comes out of that over time as I learn how to do it. But initially, if you hit right below the video, it'll say join. If you click there and subscribe, it's just a few dollars a month. It'll put a special icon by your name when you comment, and I'll skip ahead and read your comments just like we do when we get a super chat or things like that. Also, in the coming videos, as soon as I can figure out how to do it, there will be special emojis that will be available to members, as well as just all kinds of things like that. I'll acknowledge you guys and gals at the start of the show. I'll make mention of all my members and by name. And as that membership grows, YouTube increases the benefits and things we can do with it. And it doesn't take a lot. We get like 8 members, and we can do a lot of cool stuff. So check it out. I know some of you are members on other channels. See what you think about it. If you can't do that, hey, I get it. We're in a tight economy. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. At least subscribe, share this video on your social media platforms, and give me a thumbs up. All those things are free to do, and they really help me out a lot, especially right now with all the, I don't know another way to say it, all the crap that's going on. So we're going to jump into it here. Let me say hi to a few people. I did get some results back on my truck. I'm going to share those with you, tell you what my plans are. I did get the Corvette put up for sale, and I did it a little differently than what I was originally planning. And my son talked me into doing it a different way. And we're going to see how that works. And then from there, we may do something different or adjust the plan if we need to. But first in today was my good friend Snowman. Saying okay at 7 Eastern time. So he's referring, I started the show at 6 tonight instead of 5. I normally don't even do a Friday show. Would have liked to have done it earlier, but I had to pick my wife up at work before I could do this show. Cassius King is here. He says, got my ears on. Good deal, sir. I appreciate you being here. Man, it's a long day waiting to get loaded here in Yakima. I know it's part of the job. Now at least we get layover. Yep, that's true. And, we had a governor in Texas a few years ago that made a statement that got him in a lot of trouble. He said he was referring to, something bad. I probably shouldn't bring it up on here. But he said, if it's inevitable, relax and enjoy it. And I found that's true for layover and detention. If it's going to happen, there's nothing you can do about it. Every one of us has comfortable trucks. Get in the sleeper, watch a movie, play a video game, take a nap. And at least you're getting paid to do those things. And most importantly, rest during that time so that when your load is ready, you can run. But I get what you're saying. Nobody likes it, especially in a team operation like what you run. Hey, Cash the Money Man. Yeah, I really need to talk to Cash because he has memberships on his channel, and he could help me with the emojis and setting all that up. So I may have to shoot him an email and ask him for some advice. Him or my brother. I think my brother would know how to do it too. My delivery appointment in Tyler, Texas isn't till Tuesday at 6 a.m. What a joke. Oh, yeah, that's terrible. That brother I just mentioned lived in that area, so if I got down there and had that situation, I would run over and see him. But man, this is just Friday, so you're talking 3 or 4 days away. That's got to be tough. It'd be nice if you could drop that load somewhere with your company and grab something else. But if you work for a smaller outfit like I do, which I know where you work, and I don't know if they have any opportunities like that or not. But I was speaking more generally, but I do know where you work. I might be leaving trucking. I've lost a lot of money. I'm broke. I'm getting close to there, and the sad thing is I have nobody to blame but myself. That makes it a little more frustrating. Um, the economy has hurt a little, but I've been able to overcome that. It's just when it rains, it pours. I mean, like right now, today, uh, I was looking into getting my wife's car fixed. She doesn't even know that. And I was looking into getting the dash put back together on the Corvette and things like that, and trying to get the Kenworth fixed. And man, while trying not to spend any money today, I spent almost $1,000. Well, right at $1,000. And so I get what you're saying. It's tough times. If you can hang in there, hang in there. But one of the mistakes I made in the past was staying at a company longer than I should, thinking it'll get better, and just continually sinking while I was doing it. It was like I was in a really thick quicksand. And if I'd have quit, and ideally I'm thinking about that company that was here in Lubbock that I was home every other day with. If I'd have left them 2 months sooner, my finances would have been a lot better a lot sooner. But I hate to see you get out of trucking. You seem like a good guy that knows his stuff. Hello, it's 7 p.m. in Florida already. Yes, sir. Well, it's showing you came in at 5:11, which would be 6:11 in Florida. But now it is. Now it's 7:08 in Florida. Hey, Snowman, how's the weather in Yakima? I hear you, Gary Cook. Says Snowman. So I think most of us that are in trucking are feeling it right now. And the trolls were out today making crap up, doing what they do, and we're not even going to address their silly things tonight, unless somebody outright asks me about it. But it was pure falsehood. I've got my work order here about what's really wrong with my truck, things like that, and we're going to go over it in just a few minutes. I want to get caught up, though, because like right now, Snowman's comments are over 45 minutes old, almost an hour old, so he deserves a quicker response. And like I said, for those of you that are members, you'll go to the front of the line for me addressing your comments and stuff. So it's a cool thing. I've never been a member on any channel, so I'm still learning about it, but I'm excited to see what extra content we can put on there and things like that to give you guys a little bit more. I just ordered DoorDash pizza. Well, we'll keep an eye out for it. I was hungry for pizza. I'm joking. I hope it's good, Snowman. Snowman says that in Yakima it is good, 70 and sunny. So that's in Washington State. They consider that hot weather, but that's great, man. Good old Tim Back is here tonight. That's great, man. I'm glad you made it in. And my good friend Adam is here from Kansas. Thank you for being here as well, sir. Everybody checking in. I'm trying to go through these quickly because I know everybody wants to know about the truck and the Corvette. And I want to get to that just as quick as I can. I hate to ignore comments when they're up there, especially some of you guys that have had them up for a long time. Matthew Miller is here. Thank you for being here, sir. RGB says hey and waves at everybody. Russell Freight Services says, hello, everyone. And then he says, start my new lane, going to head north to North Dakota and back tomorrow morning. Yeah, I remember you talking about that. I'm excited to hear how you like it, and I'll be especially excited to hear about it in a month or two when the weather changes. But I'm wishing you the best. I'm rooting for you. I can't wait to hear how it goes. Another great guy here tonight, here and accounted for, is good old John Toohey. Thank you for being here, sir. Travis Jones says, hey, checking in from Salina, Kansas, headed home to Kansas City for the weekend. That's awesome, man. I'm glad you're getting to go home. I'm at home, but under less favorable circumstances. My truck's broke down, and we're getting ready to talk about it. The repair bill currently is about 3 times what I thought it was going to be. And they put a nice little disclaimer on there that it could go up, and that's after I haggled them down a little. Gary Cook says, hello, everyone. Hello, Gary Cook. Got my cold pizza from DoorDash. Hey, I wanted to tell you something about that. I'm glad you brought that up. With DoorDash, if they leave an item off, or if they bring you cold food or the wrong food, it has a section under help that you can click on and report it, and they'll give you a credit for your next order. Now, I don't have to tell Snowman this because I know what kind of guy he is, but if something's wrong, I would encourage y'all to report it, but don't just report it because you know you'll get a discount. Be honest about it. Have some integrity. But yeah, if your pizza's cold, if it's not what you're expecting, because they upcharge you on those pizzas with DoorDash, you probably spent $40 or $50 anyway, and you expect to at least have a lukewarm pizza. But if it's cold, report it, and you'll get a lot of your money back. You won't get it all, but you'll get probably 70% of it back. And I have called them before and took my tip off because it wants you to leave a tip. And if my deliverer is a butthole or takes forever to get there, I've canceled their tip. All my loads are live load and live unload. Yeah, me too. Which most of the time that's great, but in a situation like yours, it really sucks because you're stuck till Tuesday. And there's not really any great places to park around Tyler. You got that Love's or Pilot or whatever it is, but I get it, man. That's not cool. Had you known in advance, you could have stopped somewhere a little cooler before you got there. Like I said, for me, wouldn't be the end of the world. I got family in the area, but if you don't know anybody in those parts, that would really stink. Good Lord, the sun has got to me. Stink. I have all my credit cards are all maxed out. I like my truck, but it has busted me. Maybe I waited too long to get rid of it. Yeah, I sympathize with you. You know, people are already asking me, Todd, what are you going to do if you fail with this truck? And I made one guy mad, kind of. I was like, I don't know. I love working with Scott. For now, I'm going to concentrate on working with Scott. Until Scott says it's not an option or my bank account says it's not an option, that's what I'm going to do. And so, but I hate that all your credit cards are maxed out. As of yesterday, I think mine's maxed out too. I just have one, and it's not a huge one. But yeah, I get it, man. But what I said all that to say this, I really wish you could come over here. And I realize the barrier to entry, having to have your own truck and things like that. But I don't see how a person couldn't thrive over here. There's a learning curve if you've never ran the spot market or booked your own loads, or if you're shy about negotiating or things like that. But if you've got an open mind and you're willing to learn, I think between me and Scott and the other drivers here, that you've got a better than average chance of succeeding. But I understand, support you, whatever you decide to do, Gary. And if there's anything I can do to help, if you need a recommendation or anything like that, you want to use me for a reference, just let me know, because I know you're a good guy, and just want to help you any way I can. Russell Freight Services. What part of North Dakota? Abandon wants to know what part of North Dakota you're going to, Russell. Gary Cook says he is at the QT in Tyler. Okay, I know where that's at. I never think about it, though. I always forget about it being over there. And I'd actually prefer QT to most truck stops. The only thing is, I'd want to get a shower, and I'm not aware of a QT that has a shower. I'm sure there's one that exists, but being from now till Tuesday, I'd probably want one, maybe two showers. I would almost, and I realize money's tight right now, but if you could afford a hotel, it would actually be cheaper than idling your truck all that time in a lot of cases, unless you've got an APU or something like that. Snowman says, okay, thanks for letting me know about DoorDash. Yeah, like I said, I cringe saying it on here because people are going to take advantage of it, and that's what causes things like that to end. But a lot of times you'll order a fountain drink and they won't bring your fountain drink, and they'll refund it if they didn't bring it. Or a lot of times your food is cold or ordered incorrectly, and they'll make it right by, usually they'll give you about 75% of your item cost back. I remember when I worked at Roadrunner, we had ordered some Mexican food, I think it was, and my wife ordered her tacos with no lettuce. And she does that because when they don't put lettuce on your tacos, you get more beef. And she likes a lot of beef on her tacos. And so they ended up discounting the tacos and giving us vouchers on future orders and things like that. So I'm scared to death that somebody will get on here and abuse it. But if you feel like you've been wronged, it's a good option. Russell says he is going to Fargo. There you go. The good old Petro in Fargo. Acceleration says, it's wintertime. Stay in Texas. Yeah, you don't know how true that is. That's probably going to happen whether I want it to or not. He also corrected me. He said that QT does have showers. I've never noticed them in there, but that's great if they do. Gary says there's a motel next door, but the weather is comfortable, so I'm comfortable. Well, that's good then. Yeah, and then you don't have to move all your crap. And I remember one time I was at a hotel in Colorado. I believe it was Rifle, Colorado, for a couple of days because my load wasn't ready. And I left in such a hurry that I left like 75% of my underwear and socks and everything in the hotel room. I had just done laundry at the hotel and ran out the door. And I called the hotel later when I realized it. And they ended up mailing all that stuff to my house. So I thought that was really nice of them, but I couldn't believe I was so absent-minded that day. Abandon says, you picked a good time to come up here. I'm a local driver in Fargo. So there you go. You two may cross paths and not even know it. Let me make sure I didn't skip anybody. Acceleration says I-80 was closed today in Wyoming. Everything open now, getting ready to roll. Yeah, I heard they had a pretty good snowstorm up there. I guess you were up in all that. I'll be running that lane in the winter. It's my new lane where I can thrive with my truck payment. That's what it's all about right now. Just, I used to have a teacher that I hated in school. She had a saying, though. She'd say, fake it till you make it. And that's what some of us are having to do right now. We're not making what we should make, what we are to make, nothing like that. But we're just trying to survive until times get better. I think it's funny that you don't see a lot of YouTubers putting out income videos right now. There's a few people that do, like, Midlife does, but he's a company driver. I'm talking about owner-operators on YouTube. There has been a major drop in income videos. Look how rich I'm getting. All of my loads are $4 a mile. Those kind of guys. They've kind of gone into hiding for now. Blues Trucker US says, "Good evening, Todd. Was wondering if you have looked at your net as an owner operator after profit and loss and compared it to what you could make as a company drivers. Some companies you can gross 100K, no stress." Yeah, I can tell you without getting too specific, I make well over 100K a year. I do really, really well. And, but and this is the thing I have the hardest time explaining to people. And I'm not discounting your comment, but I'm going to remove it so people can see the website and then I'll talk about it some more. People hear me anytime I mention income and they go, "Oh, well, I want to do what Trucker Todd's doing." Well, here's the deal. Yes, I can make more money than a company driver 9 out of 10 times. But, and here's the big but, your truck breaks down. A lot of company drivers are going to get breakdown pay, things like that. I get none of that. I'm also having to pay for my own health care. A lot of company drivers have it provided either at full cost, the company pays for it, or at a significant discount. So, I mean, I could argue either way. Being an owner operator is definitely not for everybody. But, 11 out of 12 months a year, I'm going to make more money than a company driver. And I make more money by far than any company driver job that I've ever had. But I'm not knocking being a company driver. And if I fail, I may have to go company for a little while till I can get my funds back up and take another swing at it. The thing I would tell you though, and me and some of you drivers in here have talked about it before. Once you're self-employed and once you're calling your own shots, it's really hard to go to work for somebody and have them tell you what to do. And maybe I'm spoiled, maybe I'm out of touch, but it'd be hard for me to go back to a dispatched model. Not saying I couldn't do it, but it'd be real hard for me to go back to a company driver job. But we'll see what happens. Right now, I think I'm okay. I posted the Corvette for sale today. I started off putting it on Facebook Marketplace and a bunch of groups in this area. My son suggested that. He also reposted it on a bunch of his groups trying to help me out, or said he did. I hadn't checked. And so I'm hoping the car will sell in the next few days, and that'll help fund this nightmare of a life that I've had lately. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I had a really, and I'm going to get into it now because we're pretty close to caught up on the comments, and then I'll jump back into the comments again. I had a real good call with Scott today, and this is where tunnel vision comes in. And I had not got the estimate yet, but I had a rough idea, and I was panicking. And when you panic, you get tunnel vision. And you don't see what's going on around you. You just see your problem, and you're so focused on your problem that you're like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And, Scott kind of talked to me, calmed me down. He's like, all right, Todd, let's think about this. They got to order parts. They're not going to come till Wednesday or Thursday of next week. You've got car sales experience. Why don't you, instead of focusing on your problem, focus on selling that car within the next week, even if you have to take a little less for it than what it's worth. And it wasn't like he told me something revolutionary that I didn't know or I hadn't thought of, but he told me something I needed to hear in the tone of voice that I needed to hear it. It wasn't condescending. It wasn't, look, idiot, just do this. It was level, eyeball to eyeball type conversation, where he was like, you're going to get through this. You're going to be okay. You've overcome a lot the last 3 or 4 months. It's going to be all right. And that's all I needed to hear. When he said that, my focus changed. And I thanked him. I said, thank you, Scott. That's what I needed to hear. I didn't at that point need him to whip out a credit card and say, here, let me take care of this for you, like some people suggested. I didn't need him to, do anything along that lines. I just need a little bit of a pep talk today. And that's another great thing about him being a driver is sometimes only another driver knows what to say to a driver to motivate them or move them in the right direction. So when I got off the phone with him, I hit the ground running. I was on it, and I've got plans to get the Corvette fixed Monday so I can get it sold. And I've got the parts ordered for the truck. So what about the truck? Let's talk about the truck. This is what everybody wants to know. So let me enlarge it because I'm getting old. So here's what they found. The first complaint was the oil pressure sending unit is leaking oil. They agreed with me. The part was $82.90 and the labor was $192. So it looks like it's about 1.25 hour labor. I don't see how it could be. It's on the side of the block. Looks like it's an 11/16. I think you could change it in 15 minutes. But it was so soaked in oil that I didn't want to mess with those wires and screw something up and have a bigger problem. So for the oil pressure sending unit, you're looking at $288.50 out the door. Next was the left turn signal. And this is the one that was the big issue, the main thing I wanted to get covered. And they did, every place you go, shippers, receivers, shops, they always assume the truck driver's stupid and doesn't know what he's talking about. So the very first thing they did was check my pigtail to make sure my pigtail wasn't faulty. I know several of you suggested I needed a new pigtail and that you thought it was faulty. And after they checked the pigtail, they figured out there was, and they checked the fuses at the same time, found no bad fuses, checked for power at the plug where the trailer cord hooks up to verify the trailer cord was not bad. Trailer cord checked okay. Found the inline connector under the cab on the frame for the trailer cord. Disconnected and checked for power at connector. Found all working except the trailer turn signals. Well, what do you know? It was exactly like I said. I told you I bought a tester and I checked it. But of course, they got to go back and check because you're not going to believe this, but some drivers lie. It says he hooked up Davy to check for codes. I guess Davy is their computer system. He did find 2 codes that turned out to be left and right current below or open circuits. He looked in his troubleshooting guide in ESA and checked fuse, looks like F7 in the PDC. The fuse was okay. He ohmed out the PDC to verify power was coming out of the PDC to the CMP harness. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know what none of this means, but I know we got some smart cookies in here, if DIY Semis in here, or Cash is King, or Scott, or some of the others. To you, you know exactly what this means, and you're going, oh, well, that makes sense. So I'm just reading it to you. If you're lost, don't worry. I'm lost too. So let's see here. Let's get back into it. He said that those PDC internal circuits were okay. He removed the side skirts and inner brackets to gain access to the frame-mounted CMP. Visually inspected all trailer wiring on the frame. Now, this is on the truck. The trailer is parked at a separate location, but he's talking about the trailer wiring on the truck, the wires on the truck that are relevant for the trailer to have lighting. Let's see, on the frame for bad wiring. No bad wiring found. Ohmed out wiring from PDC fuse into and J4 to chassis module primary, CMP. I guess that's what that means. CMP is chassis module primary. Connector D pin 16 and connector E pin 16 per troubleshooting guide. Found good continuity on both pins, reinstalled fuse and checked for power at both pins, and found 12 volts at each. Placed a light on both turn signal pins on the trailer cord and added power to pins 7 and 15 and turn signal circuits. Turned the test light on. So what he's saying there is when he ran wires, he got those circuits to light up. Says found turn signal circuits to be good. CMP has failed and not sending power to trailer cord. CMP needs to be replaced. So that would be the chassis module primary is what's affecting my my left turn signal on the trailer. So basically a computer. Now that fine piece of PACCAR engineering is $1,330. That's not labor. That's just the part. And of course, they don't have that part in stock. They're going to have to order it. Shipping and handling is going to be $60. And the labor's $1,280 with the diagnostic and everything. Brings the grand total for just that module to $2,738. Now, don't forget, we got that oil pressure sending unit before that. The third and final thing was the bunk heater was not working. And it says he checked the truck for bunk heater not working, turned on the blower motor for the bunk to verify unit had proper airflow and verify the filter wasn't clogged. Found truck heater was a Wabasco heater system, turned on control panel and found the heater did not turn on. Looked up troubleshooting literature to locate the problem. Looked up fault codes on Webasto control panel. It was an F12 like I told him. And it said heater fault lockout active. He looked up that code and found it needed to be reset like I told him. But that didn't fix it. He removed the fuse, turned the heater back on, found a fault 11 overheating sensor, followed troubleshooting guide and found faulty overheat protection sensor bad. So it needs an overheat protection sensor for my bunk heater. It's fairly reasonably priced at, tested after sensor is replaced for, needs to be tested after sensor is replaced for possible cleaning that is needed yearly. Also, parts could be seized up per service manual if this heater has not ran for 20 minutes once monthly per service interval. All right, that sensor, that fine piece of PACCAR machinery, $62.74. Not sure why the labor's so high. I got to call them about this. Labor is $720. That has to be carryover from something else. I just noticed that. I need to call and ask about that. That does not sound right. But basically, total invoice is $38.49. Then you got to add your taxes. And it brings us to a grand total. Taxes was $136.73. Brings us to a grand total of $39.85.97. So originally, as recently as about 10:30 this morning, we thought it was going to be about a $1,300 to $1,500 repair. I was already starting to look at load boards thinking I might be leaving out on a load either today or sometime this weekend. But now, because they have to order parts, we're probably looking at the end of next week at the earliest. And so it's a little bit disheartening. And you can see now why I was so tunnel vision focused on it, that I wasn't aware of what's going on around me. And this is overcomable. It's a lot of money, a lot more than I planned on spending. It could go down because I'm fixing to call them about that $720. That can't be right. Matter of fact, I may shoot him an email right now. Because that's about 6 hours of diag. And I don't think that's right. Sorry, I know this is real interesting. I noticed roughly 6 hours of diag on the bunk heater. Period. How is that possible? Question mark. Is this a misprint? Question mark. Could you please take a look at it again for me? Question mark. Thanks. All right, let's jump back in. So that's what's going on, folks. We may have a lot of these videos because what else can we do? Quick Trip has showers. That's right. So Gary clarified. Thank you, Gary. Somebody said QT had showers. No, Quick Trip has showers. Usually one or two. That is correct. But I didn't. I'm not aware of any QTs that have showers. And Gary confirmed that the QT he's at does not have showers. So Mother Trucker was snowing today in Colorado. Oh, really? Hope things get better for you soon. I appreciate that. I really do. I hope they do too. This is I've acquired a lot less hair and a lot more gray hair here the last couple of weeks, and bigger bags under my eyes. I'm not sleeping well. You can kind of see the red tint around my eyes. I know this has knocked a few years off my life. Little gray in the beard now. So, but this too shall pass. Been a while since I've listened live. This is William Scooby. Yeah, it has been a while since you've been here. But will your warranty cover any of this? And if you already answered this, I'm sorry, I'm just now got here. No, the warranty typically covers, I've read it, it typically covers more like your powertrain type items. The engine, some of the peripherals on the engine, things like that. Computer and electronics, good luck finding a third-party warranty that'll cover those things because they know the bouncing and vibration going down the highways, that you're going to have stuff like that go. Moisture, water, things like that. But yeah, that's what I would say about that. I sure wish they would, though. I just discovered you and I just emailed you. Great, Richard. Thank you for being here. Oh crap, I didn't put the ticker up. Here we go. If you do email me, you'll get me a lot faster if you send it to that Todd at truckertodd.net. If you watch some of my older videos, I had a different email on there. I don't monitor that email anymore. I say that I'll check it once or twice a month. So if you email me on that old email, it may take me several weeks to see it. But since you told me you emailed me, I'll search all the emails and try to find it after the show. But I thank you for being here. I hope you're enjoying it. And yeah, that's great. I'll look for your email after the show. Bandon says, nice. Hopefully it works out for you. They're really good with plowing, salting the roads. The shipper you go to might not be so much with their lots. Yeah, exactly. Depending on where your shipper is in town, in case you've never been up here before, downtown is definitely not made for trucks, especially with snowbanks. Oh, I bet it's bad there because you'll see huge snow embankments in the height of winter. Are you selling the vet for a good price or kind of giving it away? Well, I'll tell you a saying that they used to say at the car lot. You can always come down, but you can't go up. So when you set a price, you always set it high, knowing that you're going to have to come down a little bit. So I've got it set at 25 right now, which quite honestly is about what it's worth. But I know people get on there expecting to haggle, And so I know that I probably won't get 25, but I do feel like I put it at a really fair price because of the manual transmission. I looked it up in like a classic appraisal deal, and the manual transmission's like a $8,500 upgrade. Now, in the 70s, it was a discount. Nobody wanted a manual transmission back then. Everybody wanted an automatic, and that's why they only made a little over 4,000 in 75, I think, a little over 4,000 with the manual transmission. And now that's what everybody wants because they're more fun to drive. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. I got some hits on it today. But I mean, a lot of people, I had some people in Fort Stockton that they wanted to make a down payment and me finance it. And I just can't do it on that car. It's a 50-year-old car. And if somebody doesn't take care of it, you can destroy it. And some of those parts are irreplaceable. So I either need to get all of my money up front or so much of it that if they do destroy it, that I'm still okay with what I got out of them. And I don't want to have to go to Fort Stockton and look for the car and, fight somebody to get it back or something like that. I'd rather just wait and sell it to somebody that's got cash, or their bank will finance it for them. And for a 50-year-old car, you're going to have golden credit to finance it. Now, Haggerty's and some of them have classic car financing, and maybe somebody could go through one of them and finance it. But I don't feel like I took advantage of anybody. I've got it insured for $24,000 or $25,000 as a classic car, and I'm basically selling it what I've got it insured for. Gary Cook says every truck has different codes. Unfortunately, I don't understand them all. Me either, but that's what Google's for. The other day my pickup threw a code, and I pulled the code up with my scanner, and then I Googled what the code was, and fortunately it had just hiccuped. I reset it, and it was fine after that. Hornaday Ammunition had an explosion today in Wood River. Now ammo prices are going up. Wondering if it was terrorism. Acceleration said that. I don't know. I was watching the news the other night, and they said because of what's going on in Israel, that they're worried about Hamas having sleeper cells here in the United States and doing things like that. So I'm sure we'll find out soon, but this is one of those times when you're out in public. If you see something that doesn't look right, you need to tell somebody. If somebody sets a bag down and walks away, it might be nothing, but tell a security guard or a cop and let them check it out. Don't just ignore it and go, oh, it's probably nothing. Or if you see a guy that looks suspicious, keep your eye on him. We're going through kind of weird times right now, and burying your head in the sand is not a great thing to do. Friday the 13th strikes again. Yes, it does. They always go by book price on hours, even if it takes 15 minutes. If the book says an hour, they charge an hour. It's BS. Yeah, but let me defend them for a second. What it does is it incentivizes the tech to work faster, so you get your car quicker. Now, they do book in flag hours. It's called flag hours. I was a service writer for 2 years. But some jobs, it'll say 1.25 hours or 0.75 hours. So a lot of shops will have a minimum too. So if you bring it in for something small, it's a 1 hour minimum or a 2 hour minimum, something like that. My wife's car, for example, the flag hours on it is 2.6. So if I take it to a shop to get the alternator changed, they should charge me around 2.5 to 2.6 flag hours. And it may take them 30 minutes to change it. I'm okay with it because it may mean I get the car back quicker when we send it off. Now, here's the problem with it. Some shops will increase it if it takes longer than 2.6 hours. I'll give you an example. Ford Motor Company, when they had the 4.6 and 5.4 liter engines, when you did a spark plug job on them, a lot of times the spark plugs would break off in the block, and they were a booger to get out. So we would say a spark plug job costs this much, and then they would get in there and get started on it, and we'd say it's an additional hour for every spark plug that breaks. And so the bill could be significantly more if you had spark plugs start breaking. Good Lord, it's getting hot in here. I got to turn the air on. Give me a second. I thought you turned the air on. Not enough. So yeah, that's what I'd tell you about that. But I think they kind of milked me a little bit here, and we're definitely going to talk about it. I just emailed them. Hopefully they'll get back to me this evening. They're there till 7. And if they do, I'll tell you what they say. I'm just making sure they hadn't already emailed me. I got a troll. I'll deal with him later. Hey, Shannon Thomas is here. Good evening, all. Hey, thanks for being here, Shannon. Ouch, Todd, you better sell that vet fast. Yeah, if I don't, I'll be selling liver and kidney and everything else, left arm, right arm. There's not going to be much left of me when this is over. Hanging out at the Pilot in Plant City, Florida. Can't wait to see you back out on the road. Well, thank you, kid behind the wheel. I appreciate it. I think I can't wait to be back on the road. I think my wife's ready for me to leave too. She's over there shaking her head, yes. So, yeah, just as soon as I can get out, I'll be out. Shannon says, sorry I'm late. Bad signal for a while. That's all right. We're glad you're here. I'm glad Shannon's here. I wanted to ask her. So I started the membership thing today. This is the first video where it's active. And for those that don't know, it says join below the video. You can click on that and do like a small monthly subscription for a few dollars a month. But anyway, it has an option to add emojis. And I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to upload emojis or create emojis. And I know you're a member on Cassius King's channel. And I don't know if you've got members on yours or not. But do you know how to create emojis and add them? They have to be special ones to work on YouTube. Tim back trucking, it works the other way too. If it books 2 hours and takes 4, you only get charged 2. If you're a good mechanic, you can beat the time, but sometimes the time beats you. Oh yeah, Mr. Guchos, that's very true. We had some techs. We ran like 8 techs at the shop I was at, and we had some techs that it was all they could do to get 30, 35 hours a week, and they were there like 70 hours a week. So they were not making very much money. And then we had guys getting close to 100 hours a week because they were fast. So it's a kind of a performance-based thing to force the mechanics to work fast and do good work. Because here's the other catch. If they don't do work and the car comes back, oftentimes the shop will make them refix it for no additional money. So, if they half butt something, forget to put a bolt in, the car comes back, they get to do it for free the next time. And they're usually real happy about that. Peterbilt and Kenworth will rip you apart with the labor. So can Freightliner, says Gary Cook. Yeah, I think, and it doesn't even have to do with trucks. I think all shops are tempted to do that. And, I knew a guy. His first name was Bruce, that he used to have a shop that he owned. And his problem was he was too honest. I mean, people would come in his shop and he'd talk to them forever. He'd tell them how to fix their own car if he thought they couldn't afford him. And he ended up ultimately going out of business over it. I mean, he was just too nice of a guy to be a business owner. And he just had a heart for wanting to help people. but still a good guy. I still see him occasionally. That pilot in Plant City is small. Yeah, it is. If it's the one I'm thinking of, doesn't it only have like 8 or 10 parking places? And I think they're all paid parking. It's always best to find a good mechanic that knows how to work on your trucks. I agree. The problem is, and I have that for other trucks, but when you have a PACCAR engine, it's increasingly hard to find mechanics that are able to work on it just because PACCAR is so secretive about their maintenance stuff, wiring diagrams, schematics, things like that. Also, when they get that module in, it has to be programmed, and a lot of shops don't have that software. So it would have probably wound up at a dealer either way. But yeah, it's just frustrating all the way around. You ain't kidding. Florida got some wild truck stops. That's all I got to say, kid behind the wheel. Yeah, I like going to Florida. I don't get to go very often, but I like it down there. Snowman's back here now. Finally got a door 16 after 8 hours of waiting, and is only just apples, and got one more pickup. Well, they'll probably get you pretty quick now. They probably didn't have the product. That seems to happen a lot when you're hauling produce. You get there and they go, yeah, we're still waiting on product. And it's like, you scheduled me at 9 o'clock in the morning. When you made this appointment, did you know that you wasn't going to have product at 9 o'clock in the morning? I almost always seem to get detention pay when I went to those places, because you'd show up at 8 o'clock in the morning and it'd be 4 or 5 that afternoon when the product got there. Then I can head back to North Carolina. That sounds like a plan. I wouldn't mind going to North Carolina myself right now. But between my vehicles and my semi, I don't know if I got anything that'd make it. Todd, just be grateful to be home instead of on the road for your truck problems, Gary Cook says. Yeah, I've been really fortunate in that area. And I try to do that, because what I would have done if I'd have been out on the road, when I saw how long it was going to take, I'd have found a way to get home, and then I'd have went back when it was done. But I try to get home for breakdowns. For one thing, if you go to the same shop, they get to know you, and that generally helps. It doesn't seem to be helping me too much this time. But you also save on a hotel. I got some side stuff I can do around here and make a little money if I need to. So, but yeah, it's I got a big mountain to climb by Wednesday or Thursday. Don says, good evening. Good evening, Don. Thank you for being here. It took Sapp Brothers 1.5 hours to change my starter. That wasn't that bad. Yeah, that's great. When me and Scott did the starter on the semi, mostly Scott, but I tried to help him as much as I could. It was a big job. I would say, I don't want to exaggerate, but it seems like it's about 4 or 5 hours altogether. It was a lot of work. Of course, we're 2 guys out in a driveway doing it, but yeah, it was a job, and I really appreciated him for that. That one guy says the TA told me they would charge me more than book for a radiator job, and weren't sure how much more. Yeah, I hate when they do that. Now I get it if they get in there and there's a bolt stripped or something like that, and they need to charge a little extra because of that. But you shouldn't be punished because the mechanic was slow, or it was his first one, he wasn't sure, or something like that. But they will. It's supposed to be like the other guy was saying, where it's the flat flag hour rate, but it's not always. It just depends on the shop. The piano. So Gary Cook misses the piano. Let's get the piano back up here, and maybe I'll sing for your tips before the end of the night. Some of you'd probably pay me not to sing. All right, there's the piano. Yes, you could have a virtual piano. If you'd like the virtual piano, just let me know. One place I delivered to, they piled the snow on the corner because there was a street parking in front. There was street parking in front of their warehouse. Well, it was piled up to where you're getting back under the trailer. They're getting back under the trailer. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I went to Colorado one time and you had to go down this little, I guess it's a one lane road. I mean, it's like a residential street. And there was like apartments on one side of the road, and there was like a field on the other side of the road. And the snow was so piled up that you could just barely squeeze through there. And I had my wheels slit up, so I was able to get into the dock just barely. But the guy that was waiting behind me, he slid his wheels all the way back before he got to the dock, and he high centered his trailer in there and got stuck. And then it made it where I couldn't get out, and they had to send. I think they had to send a tow truck to get him out because I couldn't get out, and it was just a big old mess. Folks, if you got the opportunity, don't slide your wheels till you get in the dock. It makes it so much easier to back up. Yeah, I've got 2-year, 250,000 mile warranty, but computer modules are not considered drivetrain. Shannon says she's got members, but she hadn't figured out the emojis yet. I watched YouTube videos earlier today trying to figure it out, and I can't figure it out. Do you know, since you're a member on Cash's channel, does he have emojis? If so, we need to email him and figure out how to make our own. And maybe if one of us figures it out, the other one can copy off each other. I think it would be cool to have special emojis for the members and things like that. I used to do mechanic work. This is William Scooby. And what we found was on some things, the time they said was drastically over. On other things, it was drastically under. So it kind of evens itself out. Yeah, that's probably true. It's the same thing. Going back to William's comment, it's the same thing in trucking. 9 times out of 10, you won't beat the mileage deal that they send you. They say 1,000 miles for a load. It'll be 5 or 10% more than that. But occasionally, because if it does the zip code to zip code, it'll give you a trip and you can beat it by 20 or 30 miles. But 9 times out of 10, the house always wins. So usually not, but occasionally you'll beat the mileage on one of your trips. My truck had the black arrow bumper piece. That warehouse only has 2 ways to back in. Both have you getting back under the trailer on the corner. Well, the snow broke the brackets for the bumper. Oh, that sucks. Did you end up having to pay for it, or did the company take care of you? There's a deaf mechanic at the Petro in Effingham, Illinois. He's a great, honest technician. If I'm in that area, I'll have to check him out. Hey, looky here. We've got our very first member. We got to jump to this. Ramon became my very first member. Thank you so much, sir. And so he's got, if you notice here, he's got a little icon next to his name now. And the longer he's a member, that icon will change and grow to different things. So thank you so much, Ramon. As I learn what I'm doing, you're going to get a lot of additional content and things like that. Also, I'll mention you in every show at the start of the show. So you're number one, man. You're the first one. Thank you for doing that. Shannon says, I'm in Florida too, parked for the night, headed to Louisiana tomorrow. Oh man, that's a nice little run right there. For some reason, I thought you were up north. I don't know why. That's it. You got exactly, Todd. Well, thank you, Snowman. I appreciate that. The Trucker Todd piano. So tonight's songs will only be available to members. So I'll just be singing to Ramon tonight unless we get some more members. No, trust me when I tell you, you don't want to hear me sing. I be dad too. Finally caught alive. Love the channel. Always listen to the reruns. Well, I'm glad you're here, man. Thank you for coming in. If you got any questions, something on your mind, throw it up there and we'll jump right into it. I appreciate it. Yes, Cassius King has emojis. Will you ask him how to do that and teach us both? I was going to shoot him an email, but I think you've got the bat phone where you've got direct access to him and you can ask him. But I'd really like to do that because guys that have been really good to me, like Ramon, they need something a little more, and I want to make it a good deal for them. And there's going to be more to come. I'm going to put exclusive content and stuff like that out. I got to learn how to do it. I've also got to learn how to use this GoPro. That might be some funny videos, me trying to learn how to use these GoPros. And by the way, I need to correct myself. In the last video, when I mentioned these GoPros, I got them right here still. I had 2 containers of them, and they may not show up with that background on. There they are. Had 2 GoPros. That's not working too well. Or 2 cases, but it turns out there's a total of 3 GoPros in there. And Midlife emailed me after the show and told me what you use each one for. So now I've just got to do a video or watch some videos and learn how to use each one. And we're going to have a lot more content coming out, I hope. And hopefully we can put some of that GoPro content on the members only stuff. So we'll see. I'm working on it. You guys want it to be better. I want it to be better, and we'll get it there. It's definitely better than some of the first videos I put out. Okay, I've showed the piano. I'm sure people are opening their piggy banks to see how much they can pay for that piano. And I don't know the value of a piano like that. What do y'all think a virtual piano's worth? Anyway, I'm going to come back to the house in the meantime. Man, it got dark in here, and I don't know why. Tim Back says he can't find any join buttons. So it's going to be underneath the video, like where it says like, subscribe. Right there, there should be one that says join, and that's how you become a member. And like I said, it's just a few dollars a month, but don't do it if it's going to put you in a bind. Just like and subscribe. I know Tim's already done that. He's a moderator. But what in the world? Sorry, I'm dealing with many things at once here. I just realized somebody on here should be a moderator, and I don't know if they are. So I'm checking that right now. Is Shannon Thomas a moderator? Are y'all seeing a wrench by her? She should be. It ain't even on. Yeah, she is. I was just making sure on my StreamYard it wasn't showing her as a moderator. John Tui found it. He says it's right next to the bell, Tim Back. Big ups, Raymond. Yeah, Ramon. Yeah, that's great, man. Thank you for doing that. First one. When you start this new stuff, you never know if anybody's going to want to do it or not. But YouTube had been hounding me for a while, and I really wanted to give you people more for all y'all have done for me, and so that's what's available now. And as the channel grows, as we get more subscribers, YouTube will open more options to me, and I'll share those with you just as quick as I can. Abandon says, at that place, you either hit the snow, hit someone's car on the road, or a light pole and the warehouse worker's car. Their lot was great once you were straight with the docks lining up. Not so much. Yeah, but at least you're in a day cab, though, aren't you? That probably helps a little. Imagine if you was having to go in there in a sleeper truck. Not on mine. Maybe you have to be on PC. I'm on the app on iPhone. It's not there. It may be one of those deals that since you logged in real early that it shows the next time you come in, or it may roll out to all the subscribers eventually, but it should be there. Maybe you'll see it on this video or the next video. John Toohey says, oh, okay. Tim Back is waving. So that one guy says, is your house really that nice, or is that a green screen? So neither. I live in a travel trailer. By design, we bought it about 3 years ago. The goal was to live in it 2 years and buy a house. And we enjoyed it so much, and I'm gone so much, that we just decided to keep doing it. We're both pretty cozy in here. It's just the two of us. It's got room. Her twins have came and stayed with us before. They're adult twins, but they've come and stayed with us before. It works out well for that. Somebody else stayed with us. Who was it, Paula? She can't think of who it was right off the top of her. But we've had people stay here before. And was it Angel? No, it wasn't him. Okay, I don't know. Anyway, it seems to be a real good size for us. They take care of the yard and everything. We got a swimming pool. They call it a hot tub, but it's not a hot tub. And it's really nice facilities, workout room, things like that. But at some point, we're going to get a house again. We just don't know when. So what you're seeing behind me is the actual place. It's the travel trailer. I do have older videos showing it and talking about it, doing a walkthrough and stuff like that. At some point, I will get a green screen, but it'll be when I get a house. What we're wanting to do is get a 3-bedroom place, or maybe even a 4-bedroom trailer house, and let one room be kind of a studio where I do videos, and kind of a studio / office where I do all my kind of stuff, and maybe a game room as well. Who knows? Depends how big the room is and all. But yeah, that's the deal we're doing right now. So Tim sent a bunch of emojis, but you can see I put it up to show you this. This is what it looks like if you don't use the correct YouTube emojis. They have special emojis you have to use. And I hope Shannon finds out for me how you make them, or that she can get Cash to send us his. But if not, I'm going to try to figure that out. And guys like Tim, when they become a member, or John or Ramon or whoever else, they'll have special emojis. And it said it recommended them making them specific to the channel. So I'll try to have trucker specific emojis or things like that that relate to the channel. And I'll share that all with you just as soon as it's available. But I appreciate you guys that are taking a leap of faith early on and becoming members, even before there's really a whole lot there yet. I think it's cool what it does with Ramon, though. It turns his name green on my screen and puts that little circle with the 2 lines through it. And it says, star making jingles songs so you can pay for that shop bill. There you go. I need to get on that piano and sing for tips to pay for that truck. You're right about that, Ramon. I went from Colorado to Maine to Nevada to Wyoming to Missouri to Florida so fast. That's why you still thought I was up there somewhere. All right, Shannon. It's time for us to have a talk. How in the world did you do that? Are you training? Are you running team? What's your secret? And over the course of how many days was that too? Because you covered a lot of real estate. You're getting up there in Trucker Todd miles. Jordan Rashad is here. Good to see you again. Trucker Todd here for another video, LOL. Hello from Greer. Wow. All right, so if you're in Greer, are you a Swift driver? And if you are, running the office, and well, it's too late now. I was going to say run in there and tell Michelle hi for me, but they all cut out of there about 3:30 or 4 on Fridays, it seems like. Gary Cook says his doesn't show it either. Yeah, it may be one of those deals. Maybe John Toohey left the video and came back and it refreshed when he came back, or maybe you'll start seeing it in the future videos, but it should start being there. And I don't know, maybe Shannon can answer. I don't know if it goes back and puts it on my old videos or if it just starts from today forward. And I'll mention it like Thursday when I do a video, or I mean Tuesday when I do a video. I don't even know what day of the week it is. Tuesday when I do a video at the start of the show, I'll give a shout out to all my members and I'll name them off one by one. Now, if we get up to 500 members, that may make it kind of difficult, but we'll find a way to do it. Maybe I'll create a ticker and run it across the ticker or something like that. Here we go. So Shannon is answered. Man, Shannon, I am glad you're here tonight. I really am. She says people with iPhones have to use a computer to join. So that may hurt us a little bit. If you're an iPhone person, you're going to have to get on a computer to join, or Google if there's other ways. I don't know. There's some way you can do it through the app, but according to Shannon, you have to do it on a computer if you're an iPhone person. And she has members on her channel too. If you hadn't checked her channel out, go check it out. She's got some good stuff over there as well. And I have no reason to doubt her. She's pretty knowledgeable. Tim Back says, yes, she is. Gary Cook agrees she is, Todd. Tim Back says everyone is. Shannon says she has a wrench. That's good. Let me say this to everybody too. If you have a wrench currently and you get on here one time and you don't have a wrench anymore, get with me. YouTube does weird things. Sometimes they'll unsubscribe you. Sometimes they'll take your wrench. If I take your wrench, you'll know why I did it. I'm not going to rabbit punch you and do it without you knowing. So I'm very comfortable with everybody that has a wrench right now, and I don't have any plans to pull anybody's wrench. So if it's gone, it's either I accidentally did it or YouTube did it. And either way, I want to make it right. Don't leave here mad at me thinking Todd don't like me or Todd don't trust me or something like that. Josh 1142 says, hello, Todd. Hey, Josh, thank you for joining us tonight. Tim Back, before I read his comment, I want to talk about Tim for a second. He runs like a reefer driver. He has all these appointments at 2:30 in the morning, 3:30 in the morning. He's a hardworking dude, but he gets up too early. I don't get up that early. He says up at 3:30 a.m. See what I mean? To deliver. Have a good night. Hope and pray everything works out for everyone that's in a bad position. Good night, all. Good night, Tim Back. Thank you for being here. Shannon Thomas says she'll look into it too. Thank you. I appreciate that. And if you find anything out, please let me know. I think you've still got my phone number. If you don't, I don't want to put it on here. The trolls would get me. But it's Todd@truckertodd.net. If you don't still have my phone number, I'll give it back to you. Or tell me in here, and I think I've still got your number, and I'll shoot you a text so you got it. Gary Cook tells Tim to have a good night and be safe. Steve ND86 says 3,900 is not a major repair bill on a truck like yours. My friend bought a 2019 579. He had it for a year and he spent close to $40K on it. Yeah, I had a guy. Oh man, I can't think of who it was. I had a guy that, let me hang on a second. I got to check something. I'm going to come back to your comment here in just, well, let me finish your comment and I'll go down. We got a new member that we want to talk about. I had a guy saying that he got rid of his Kenworth because he spent over 40,000 on it in 1 year, and he ended up getting I believe he got an International, an older one, because he wasn't a big fan of all the electronics and all the emissions. Let me get down here and find this. RGB just became the latest new member on the channel. Thank you very much, my friend. He's also in green now on my screen, and he's got that little symbol next to his name. That'll change over the months as he remains a member. But I thank you for that. That really helps the channel out. And I'm going to try not to get lost here. Sometimes the comments come faster than I can read them. Snowman says, that's it. You got it exactly, Todd. The Trucker Todd piano, says Gary Cook. Yeah, everybody loves the piano. I was impressed by the fireplace, but more people were impressed by the piano. And I'm impressed that you people thought I could afford a house like that. Hey, I finally caught a live. Love the channel. Always listen to the reruns. Thank you, sir. Yeah, if you see me in a house like that, it's either a relative's house or it's breaking and entering. Somebody's getting ready to call the police. I've already read these. Let me get down here where I was. We're going to get caught up. Abandon says, trucker specific emojis. Are they going to include flip-flops, headsets, and pee bottles? Yeah, and for the people that have been members over a year, I'll even have little poop bags. So it'll be great. Over like 2.5 weeks, ran recaps, was running like a crazy person. Yeah, I bet you're tired. You're ready for some time off. Ramon says, most I done team driving Miami, Florida to Seattle to Los Angeles, back to Miami, 7,307 days. That's solid. That's over 1,000 miles a day, 500 a driver. Pretty good for a team because got to have bathroom breaks, diesel breaks, things like that. So yeah. My YouTube subscription is included in my iPhone price. That's good, Gary. I think we're talking about something different. The membership is just like something that viewers can do. The YouTube subscription wipes out all the commercials. And so it's a separate service. And you're right, certain carriers, I think Verizon has a deal where you get the YouTube subscription included with your iPhone. And I don't know what other carriers, but yeah, it's a separate deal. Everybody wants to get your $5. And so your cell phone company's getting it through the iPhone. And now YouTube can get it through the memberships there too as well. And they give me a cut of it as well. Like I said, it does help, especially on weeks like this. Gary Cook says when your repair bill goes over 5K, then it's time to sweat. Yeah, and I don't know if I read it when I was reading that, but it also said that they needed to retest it after they bought those parts and that it could go up. So we're not done. That's just where we're at right now. And I would say it's time to sweat anytime your repair bill exceeds your maintenance fund. Because, and I shared this with somebody earlier today. I was just kind of venting. I was upset. And I said, you know, I help literally since I've started this YouTube channel, I've helped hundreds of people, including family members. And I'm going to get in trouble for this comment. And then when it flips around and I need help, it's crickets. They're all gone. There's nobody there. So it's me against the world. And I'm not saying that to feel like a victim or nothing like that. I'm just saying it's a little bit of a kick in the gut when you think about all the people you help and then there's nobody to help you. And I got to be careful saying that because my wife went back to work and she's trying to help out. So I'm not directing this at her, but I think she knows who I'm talking about. And so, yeah, that's what I would say about that. It's a little frustrating. And maybe that makes me a stronger person because I know I've not got anybody that I can count on like that. But it'd be nice if, it'd be nice if sometimes I didn't have to pull a miracle out of the hat. And one of the commenters recently that I just read their comment a few minutes ago trashed me pretty hard in private messages about my maintenance account. And it's like I had close to $30,000 at one point this year. It just bad circumstance after bad circumstance after misfortune. And it's whittled away. It's down to, it was about 2,500 at the start of this week, which I think we all agree is not enough money for a maintenance account, but it is what it is. And I knew when I come to town, I was selling the Corvette. So this repair is not forcing me to do that, but it is accelerating me doing that. I'm feeling a sense of urgency right now. And if they call me on Monday and that bill goes up anymore, I'm going to really feel some urgency. Ramon says, have a good night, Tim back. Shannon says she still has my number. Okay, good deal. Yeah, if you want to pass it on to Cash, that's cool too. I trust you, whoever you think needs it. But yeah, if he could tell you or me, either one, how to do that, or you and I could share notes on how to do that, it'd make both our channels better, and it'd be a benefit to our members. So be a chance for both of us to help a lot of people. Got a PM done today and found a hairline crack on my rear drive axle housing. Going to call around Monday and see who can fix it. I got a question about that, and you guys are going to make fun of me when I ask that. Is that something that can be welded or repaired, or does it have to be replaced? I've never experienced that breakdown before. And Dirty Diesel has a lot of knowledge. I know he's probably going, well, that's a dumb question, Todd. It's this. How much was that starter for your PACCAR? So at the dealership, it was right around $750. We got it from Fleet Pride, and with tax and everything in New Orleans, it was $501. So saved about $250 not getting it from the dealer. And we didn't have a core charge of any kind because we had already pulled the old starter and took it with us. When my fuel pump went out, it was $10K to replace it. That scared me. Yeah, why $10K? It would have probably been $1,200 at a dealership to get done. But Scott called the local dealership where he knew some people, and they told him it'd be over a week before they could look at it. And neither one of us wanted to wait a week, so we kind of took the bull by the horns, and he did a good job on it. I haven't had that starter hasn't acted up one time since he did it. I've never felt, I hit the key and it fires right up. So no weird noises, nothing like that. No loose wires. Everything's great. So he did a good job. Gary, will you take an IOU? I'm assuming he means for the Corvette. I've had, you're the second person that asked me if they'd take an IOU. I had a guy today that my son knew. My son had sold him a few cars and stuff like that. He wanted to buy the car, but he wanted to do like a notarized contract and me finance it for him. And I told him I just can't do it on a 50-year-old car. Some of those parts are irreplaceable. If he takes it out and gets drunk and wrecks it or something, it's gone. And so, I mean, he would have to put like 75% down before I would even consider it. And sound like they didn't have very much money. They were hoping to put a couple of thousand down and take it. And that's not happening. But I knew when I put it up and that's what I'm worried about on the auctions. I saw one on an auction site that I really liked that sold for about a third of what it's worth. and it's just the market we're in. Nobody has money, and the closer we get to Wednesday or Thursday, obviously the more flexible I'm going to become on the price. But I just hate to sell such a good car so cheap. Shannon says, yes, this weekend will be slow. I need the rest. Trust me, taking a 34 after I get to Avery Island, Louisiana tomorrow. Good. You need a break. Hopefully you'll put out some videos, but most importantly, get you some rest. We all need some downtime, and Shannon knows you start pumping these videos out, you get burnt out sometimes. The bigger you get, the more your phone rings, and sometimes you just want to detach, and you never can fully detach, but I'm sure she's going to feel a lot better after a 34-hour break. Corey Oatley coming up with a t-shirt message for me. Quit giving your money to people who don't care about you. Give it to Todd instead. All the best, man. Well, thank you. I don't know that's going to go over well, but I'm already amazed how many people become members, because it changes stuff even when you get like 2 and 3 members. And I think we've got several tonight. So I'm impressed already with you guys never cease to amaze me. I've been told by a few it can be welded. I would think so, because, and again, if I'm wrong, some YouTube trolls are going to eat me alive, but I wouldn't think that it's under a significant amount of pressure back there. So I would think that a weld would hold it. I realize there is some pressure that builds up in there, but it's not a large amount of pressure. Where's your wife working? Is she a waitress in an office? I've never seen a waitress in an office, but she is working for a restaurant. She's kind of a jack of all trades in there. She does dining room duties. She runs the register. They have a drive-through at that restaurant. She runs the drive-through. She's kind of doing a little bit of everything. She was a housewife for the last few years. Prior to that, she worked at another restaurant and then at a grocery store prior to that. And so this particular restaurant wanted her because of her prior restaurant experience, and because of, quite weirdly enough, her restaurant experience, her people skills and things like that. She's mean to me, but to everybody else, she's really, really friendly. And so they really like her up there. I just made her mad. I'm joking. She's nice. Ooh, I'm going to be in trouble when this video ends. Todd, have you ever watched the movie Corvette Summer? No, but I want to. I saw it. It came up as a suggestion on YouTube, and it has the guy, Mark Hamill. Is that his name? The one that played Luke Skywalker in the Star Wars? He's in that movie, and he's got a Corvette, same body style as mine. Sorry, I got the hiccups now. So I'm going to have to check that movie out. I don't know if I'll get it done tonight. I'll have to ask the wife if we can watch a movie or not, but we may watch that while we're here. I got some downtime. That's another thing I wanted to mention about tunnel vision. When you're down, especially at home, don't neglect your family and kind of curl up into a cocoon. Still get around. I talked to my uncle on the phone today. We're going to work out a time when I can see him while I'm here. My son, I was supposed to go down to his shop today, but I was so busy dealing with this other stuff that by the time I went, I would have only had about an hour there, and I'd have had to come back and get ready for the show and pick my wife up at work and things like that. But take care of that stuff too. Spend time with your spouse. Do the things that you would normally do. If maybe you can't go to those expensive restaurants you're going to, but try to find cheap, fun things you can do in place of that, so that you don't lose those relationships. It's real easy when you're down to think the rest of your life is going to be like it is right now. And you got to remember that in a few weeks, in a few days, whatever, things are going to turn around, and this is going to be a distant memory that you use as an example to motivate somebody else. So take time with your family and your friends, and don't neglect them just because, you're frustrated with your situation or something, like I was earlier today prior to Scott talking to me. I used to be a Domino's pizza driver when I was younger. Yeah, I've shared this in other videos. That came from Gary Cook, by the way, for those that are driving and listening. I worked for a Burger King for about 3 years and even made television commercials for them back in the early 90s, maybe 92, 93, back when Burger King was doing I Love This Place commercials. And Dan Cortez, the famous MTV DJ, and I did 3 commercials together. I made $36,000 off those 3 commercials, which was a ton of money back then. And I needed it because I wasn't getting rich at Burger King. And but anyway, I said all that to say this. In the afternoons when I'd get off at Burger King, because I'd usually work like 7 to 2, something like that, there was a Pinocchio's Pizza, and we don't even have those in Lubbock anymore. Don't laugh at me. We loved Pinocchio's. We wish they were still here. There was a Pinocchio's Pizza in the same shopping center. And I used to go over there when I got off work at Burger King and change into their uniform and deliver pizzas for another 4 hours or so in the evening. I was a young guy. I had kids, and I was just trying to take care of them as best as I could. And we were dirt poor. And I think about kids now, and they work 30 hours a week, and they go, "Oh, I'm so tired. I can't work nowhere else." And I had 2 jobs all through that time. Of course, I was younger, and I was a little bit healthier and a little bit skinnier than I am now. But the point I was making is I found a way to make it. And now I'm a little older. I'm a little slower, but I'm still going to find a way to make it. Gary Cook says, Todd, I'll take the blame for your wife being mad at you. You don't want that, Gary. I can't unleash her on you. She can cover your ears, Paula. Yeah. She can nag like nobody's business. And I mean, for hours. I've been threatening to talk about her on these videos. I told you I was going to talk crap about you. She can, if there's something you're doing she don't like, she'll just pick. And she's laughing because she knows it's true. But she's a good girl, and they really like her up there at that restaurant. Like, you remember the old TV show Cheers where Norm would walk in? Everybody go, Norm. Well, they do that when she walks in the store. They're so happy to see her. And when she leaves, all the managers run up and give her a hug. And she was real nervous to go back to work, and was not sure if she could do it or not because she's got those health problems. And she's done really, really well there, to the point where they're constantly complimenting her. And she did have to get a special brace on her right arm to do the job up there. But since she's got that brace, she's performing excellent. I'm really proud of her. And honestly, I think she's pretty proud of herself. I'm looking to see how much trouble I'm in. RCE says, hey, Todd, I hope you're going to keep running. Tough times out here. We'll be watching. Hi to everyone. Yeah, we're going to find out in the next 7 days, probably 7 to 10 days. And I'm not going to disappear no matter what happens. I am going to take a lot of criticism, probably from some of you in here, definitely from some of the trolls out there. And there's going to be a lot of second guessing, no matter if I succeed or fail. But it ain't over yet. I think of the Rocky movie when I think it's Rocky V, which is the worst Rocky movie. When he gets knocked down and he's laying there, and the guy starts walking off, and he says, I didn't hear no bell. And that's kind of where I'm at. I'm on the ground and I'm dizzy and I'm not sure what's going on, but I hadn't heard a bell yet. So I'm going to get up and keep going until the rug gets pulled out from me, till Scott calls and says, Todd, we're done. And then I'm going to say, all right, Scott, how can I do this to where you don't feel like I burned you? And he's going to tell me what his requirements are, and I'm going to do my best to meet those requirements. Based on conversations I've had with him lately, I don't think that's going to happen. Now, we may get to a point if we get to next week and I can't sell the Corvette in time, then I'm going to have to figure out how to pay the shop. You may see me doing some scrambling, but I'm going to figure something out. This is I've come too far to just go under now, and I've got the best job I've ever had in my life. I keep telling you that. Some people believe me, some people don't. But I'm going to keep swinging as long as I can swing. Steve says trucking altogether has bad luck lately too. Seva took most of their trucks away, and they had to do a full rebuild on the Cummins. Wow. Yeah, I was driving around today, and I noticed that Saya had a terminal in Lubbock that's no longer there. And I don't know if they moved to a new location or if they no longer have a terminal in Lubbock. And I'm assuming, well, I'm not assuming, I'm certain that the yellow terminal in Lubbock is gone now. Gary Cook says, Todd, we're all truckers and we all have families. We stand together. I hope we do, or at least I hope we're going to. Oftentimes I see truck drivers tearing each other down, and it's a shame. It's a shame. This job is hard enough without us beating each other up. And the old saying that we learned when we were in kindergarten, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. I think we need to use a little bit more of that in trucking. If you see a guy with a flat tire at a truck stop, if you can't say something nice to him, don't say anything to him at all. Or if you see him struggling to change a headlight, go over and help him, or don't say anything to him at all. And that's what we need to do. Steve says now they have to sell the house and move to Wisconsin. Wow. Although I wouldn't mind living in Wisconsin. Great cheese, great wine. I could make it work. Midlife trucker always said, enjoy every day at work. That was from Gary Cook. Yeah, I like him. I didn't know a lot about him, but the more I get to know about him, the more I like him. And I'll be honest with you, it has nothing to do with him sending me the GoPro. That didn't hurt, but I'm learning a lot of stuff from you guys telling me things about him. And I didn't realize what a good guy he is. I need to check next time he comments in here. I need to check and make sure he's got a wrench, because if he doesn't have one, he needs one. Steve says, true, Wisconsin is beautiful. Kid behind the wheel says he's been having a rough time himself. Water pump, brake chamber, some cheap little push-in connectors, 2 shocks, oil change, grease truck. Bad battery also. It was hissing, and eggs. I don't know what the eggs were, but I got the rest of it. That's terrible, man. It just, it seems like when it rains, it pours. It really does. And I liked your comment. I just pulled it off so we could see the website again. Want to remind everybody down in the ticker, the email's there, the website's there. Also, if you want to email Scott about opportunities, you got a truck, you want to go to work. She covered up with a blanket. I got distracted laughing. His email's down there at safety@srologistics.com. Also, under the video, if you click the title, it'll drop down a description. There's a lot of great information there too as well. How to get a headset like mine, that solar powered headset, as well as, everything else. It's all there. The Instagram, the Facebook, the YouTube. Well, I figure you know where the YouTube is unless you're watching me on LinkedIn or Instagram. The TikTok, the Cash Apps, the Venmos, the PayPals, anything you can think of, it's down there. How to get the ES Advantage fuel card that has been so good to me. My Mudflap code is down there. Somebody clicked on it and found out that Mudflap had updated my code and not told me, so it wasn't working. We got that corrected. So if you click on the Mudflap link now, it should work. You get $10 worth of free fuel when you do that. I realize it's not a lot, but every little bit helps. Also, ES Advantage, I believe you get $35 when you sign up with my link for that card. Ramon says, Ghost in the house. Ramon, by the way, I know I mentioned it earlier in the video, but it's worth mentioning again. I was so surprised. He was our first member sign up, the very first member of the channel. Since then, we also had RGB become a member. So they're our first two on there. And I'm very grateful to both of them for taking a chance on me and doing that. There's nothing there yet, but I'm going to work hard as I learn how to use it to make it something that they can benefit from and get information from. I'll try to put something exclusive there that makes it a good deal. Maybe I'll do news stories there or something. Everybody likes when I do the news stories, or maybe I'll do a private video there as we get more viewers and things like that. We'll see. But either way, I just appreciate every one of you. We're coming up on, we've done an hour and 40 minutes now, and we're still going pretty strong. I don't know who else is on. I figure most of you got plans on Friday night. You're on your way home, and you'd rather hang out with the wife. I get it. So we'll just go till the comments kind of slow down. They seem like they're slowing down now, and then I'll get out of here and let you guys enjoy your weekend. Where'd you go? Are you coming back in here, or are you done? All righty. Let's see what we got here. Ramon says, yes, going to wait a year and then sell my #1 on Todd's channels. Yeah. I need to do something for you guys. When we get the merchandise out, maybe I'll send you something from the merchandise for free or something like that. So we're going to come up with something for you guys that maybe after you've had it 2 or 3 months, you get something. I don't know. I'm still working out the details, but I want to make it a good deal for you guys where you feel like it was worth doing, worth the upgrade. Josh 1142 says, hey, Todd, how can I reach you? I need to talk to you about something. The best way to reach me is to email me. It's in that little ticker at the bottom of the screen. It's basically todd@truckertodd.net. You can also go to the website that's right under my name, truckertodd.net, and there's a little deal there you can fill out, and it'll send me a message, and I'll get back to you just as quick as I can. Sometimes it can take me up to a day. I had one guy that waited a week one time, but that's not typical. That's more back in the Swift days when I'd get, just ridiculous amounts of calls and emails. Now it's kind of slowed down a little bit. I can usually get back with you within a couple hours. Kid Behind the Wheel says, I'm really thinking about calling that Scott guy. That really not a bad deal. I was with F2F and got robbed at the end of the lease. I left a review and I have like 30 likes. Yeah, that's good. That's what you need to do if you get burned. Here's what I'd tell you about Scott. It doesn't hurt to email him and tell him your situation. He describes the phone call as a two-way interview. So get him on the phone, ask him the tough questions, email him first, tell him about yourself. He's going to want to talk to you on the phone. Do it when you got some time, 45 minutes or an hour, and y'all ask each other questions. See if he's got some things that are deal breakers for you, and see if you've got some things that are deal breakers for him. And see, it doesn't hurt. And maybe after that 45-minute call, one of you decide it's not a good fit. That's okay. Maybe you've got a neighbor looking for a job and it's a good fit for him, and you can tell him to call Scott and see. So it's never gonna hurt you to have more information. And all of you guys that you've got trucks, I recommend emailing Scott and just talk to him. he's a really cool guy. You're going to like talking to him. He's a driver himself, so he's going to be relatable. He's going to know what you're saying. It's not going to be like some of these Chicago area companies where it's a guy from Russia that barely knows the English language and doesn't know any American traffic laws. It's going to be a guy from Mississippi. Actually, I don't know if he is from Mississippi. I think he's from Texas originally. A Mississippi resident, let's call him that knows his stuff, that gives great advice. He gave me great advice today that totally changed the way I was looking at this situation. And you never know what's going to happen when you call. So I would say if you're thinking about calling him, just do it and see what happens. You may be surprised. The thing about Scott that you have to keep in mind, here comes the ghost. We're getting ready for Halloween. Ooh, ooh. My camper is haunted. But the thing about Scott is he's old school. He's going to want to do the phone call. He's got a procedure he goes through. At some point, he'll want to fly out. Him and his wife will want to fly out and meet you and your spouse or girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever you have. These days, you don't know. And you'll have a nice dinner. You'll talk some more. It's going to take several weeks to get hired is what I'm getting to. So he's not going to pressure you. Hey, I need you here by Thursday by any means. And he's just going to want to get to know you. And you're going to be more like friends than anything before you ever get to the point where you're talking about orientation. And so, yeah, I would say it can't hurt nothing. Call him and see what you think. And more importantly, after you talk to him, email me and tell me what your vibe was about him. Did you think I was right about him? Am I way off? Is he entirely different than what I told you? I like to know. Tell me. I'm curious. I can tell you what I thought about him. I've brought one driver over here. I can tell you what that driver thought about him. Well, maybe I can. I don't know if I've got permission to talk about that. But I think I can tell you that even the other people that haven't come to work here that have talked to him, nobody's told me, hey, that guy's a jerk or that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Everybody said, hey, I really enjoyed talking to him. And so even though I have had 5 or 6 call him, and so even at that point, that's nice to hear back that people are seeing him like I'm seeing him. They're seeing the company like I see it. And that just reaffirms that I made a good decision coming here. Nobody's calling me saying, he ripped me off on my paycheck this week. I've never got a phone call like that. Or he told me this, and when I got here, it's not that way. Never got a phone call like that. And at other companies that I've worked for recently, I did get phone calls like that pretty regularly. And I had to make phone calls and try to fix their problems. And it's just nice to deal with a straight up guy that's not constantly trying to rip me off or put me down or criticize me or something like that. Like I said, today, he did a lot to really help my attitude. Josh 1142 said, thanks. Thank you, sir. When you reach 1 million subs, don't forget us. If I reach 1 million subs, Ramon, I'll make you a co-host for at least some of the episodes. How's that sound? You'll definitely be on the show. We'll have to talk about you were the first membership. You know, I would be going back to that. I was excited when I got to 100. I didn't think this was going to work. Fly Rabbit argued with me for probably 8 months to try to get me to do it. And I'm still amazed when I do a video and you guys get on here and watch. Still amazed. And so if we get to 10,000, which is the next really big YouTube milestone, I'll be over the moon because I never thought it was going to go anywhere. It was just me venting and giving my opinion on here. We got another member. Y'all ain't going to believe this. I was hoping to get 1 tonight. We now have 3. And it is, let me get down to his comment. It is the Snowman. Thank you so much, sir, for becoming a member. I really appreciate you. This is awesome. You're now lit up in green on my screen too. And man, I appreciate you guys more than I know. More than you know. Probably more than I know. Oh gosh. My brain is fried. So Kid Behind the Wheel says that's not a bad deal with the 25-75 split with no trailer payment. Yeah. Yeah, or you can do the 80-20 split with a trailer payment. It really depends how much revenue your business is going to do. He says if you're going to do more than 16,000 a month in revenue, that you'll make more on the 80-20 split. If you're going to do less than $16,000 a month revenue, you'll be better on the 75-25. There's competing theories there. Some people say, I like not having a truck payment, so if I take time off, I don't have to worry about it. So it's just whatever works best for you. And he says if you try one and don't like it, that he will let you switch. He just don't want you switching every week for whatever's most convenient for you. So if you do 75-25 for 2 or 3 months, you don't like it, then yeah, he'll switch you to 80-20. Or if you the other way around, you do 80-20 and you think you'd do better on 75-25, he'll switch you, but he just don't want you doing it every other week, depending on which benefits you more. And you can kind of get that. It'd be a hassle for him. Also, after a year, he increases whatever pay package you're on by 2%. So I think that's a pretty good deal too. All your accessorials like extra stops, detention, layover, TONUs, he gives you 100% of that. He doesn't take a cut of that. Now, I need to clarify there because I'll get myself in trouble. If the extra stops are listed as a line item thing on the rate confirmation, if they're listed as line haul, then you still split the line haul. But you basically get all the revenue outside of line haul. And it's been a great deal. There's a lot of stuff he covers in his percent part that most companies don't, like the ELD, the cargo insurance and stuff like that. So it's really a better deal than what it sounds like. And so many people get so focused on the numbers that they don't realize what a good deal it is. And I'll tell you the truth, that's part of the reason I want you to call him instead of me giving a lot of details on here, because he can explain it better than I can. And then we don't run the risk of me misspeaking or saying something wrong or something like that. You hear it straight from the horse's mouth. So, all right, let's jump into the next one. Nate Metcalf is here. Says only worked 3 days and did about 4 days. Rates were terrible. Columbus Day and day after. Yeah, I got screwed on this week because I didn't realize Monday was Columbus Day, and I set all my bills to come out Tuesday, and I didn't get paid till Wednesday because of the way everything gets processed on a holiday week. So I found myself having to call the bank and a lot of people and try to move those payments a day. So, yeah, I had no idea it was Columbus Day. That's how far out of touch I've been lately. I know it can go either way if you're $16,000 north, but in this bad market, my revenue is lower. I'm honestly around the 60. Yeah, so in your case, and living in Florida, I think you'd probably do better in the 75-25 split. So that would be probably what I'd recommend for you. My revenue's been great. It's been, 23,000, 25,000 gross revenue each month. It's going to be down this month because of this breakdown, obviously. So this month, I could have probably benefited from the 75-25. But as I stated, he doesn't want me to call him and say, all right, Scott, I want to be 75-25 this month. And then the second my truck's fixed, say, all right, I'm ready to go back to 80-20. That's not fair to him either. Wow, you did 3,800 in those days. That's not bad, Nate. Ramon says, I was 9 years in company running team, making good money, 8,400 a month. Reason I left, he give the company to Serbian to make all the decisions. Yeah. It's, and I've said this because it sounds like, oh, Todd's a racist. No, I think it's great they want to come here. I think it's great they want to better their lives, but they have to learn the traffic laws here and the FMCSA laws here, and they need to play by the same rules that we do. And then come compete with the rest of us. It's fine, but follow the same rules that we do. The same equipment. Don't rig your equipment. Fix it properly. Be able to pass a DOT inspection. Follow the same hygiene we do. Take showers. Don't take a shower in the sink in the truck stop bathroom. Don't defecate through the floor of your truck underneath your truck, or throw your trash in the parking lots. And I realize it's not just them doing it either. We got American citizen truck drivers doing the same things, but we've got to start expecting more out of ourselves and each other. Only worked 3 days and did 3,800 rates were garbage on Columbus Day and day after. Yeah, I was stuck here, broke down, so I'll have to take your word for it. Snowman says, you're welcome, sir. That's awesome. I really appreciate you guys. You give so much information. No, thanks again. Oh, well, thank you. That's nice of you. Gary Cook says, can you run beer loads with Scott? The correct answer to that is sort of. He's got a deal he puts in your permit book, and in a lot of states you can run beer loads, but there are some states that you can't pull beer loads in. There's some states you can pull them through, but you can't pick them up or deliver them there. It just depends on each individual state's alcohol requirements. I try to avoid beer loads just as much as I can because they typically don't pay well. They're always heavy. And so, and now coming into winter, you've got to worry about them freezing. I know they say alcohol don't freeze, but when I was at Dart, I had a beer load that froze. So I know they can. So, yeah, most of the time I try to avoid beer loads. If I'm in an area where the loads are just so light, there's no other options, then I'll pull out that chart and see if I can get a beer load out that'll work with his requirements. Kid behind the wheel says, does he have a tag program or do you have to have your own tag? I have my own truck insurance and all that stuff. Also have my 2290. So he would prefer that you got your own tags, but he can get them for you if you don't have them. I got my tags through him. I was going to get mine from Texas, and I had some problems getting my truck to pass the Texas state inspection. It took longer than we anticipated. I eventually got it to pass, but by then I'd spent so much money that I ended up just getting my tags from him. I believe they expire in February, and so around December, January, I'll start working on getting Texas tags if I'm financially able to. If not, I'll just re-up with him again. He gets the tags out of Mississippi, and he can go over that with you. If you get a full year, it's like $1,800 with him. He charges $100 for process, and they're really like $1,700. And if you get them mid-year, they do have some proration that takes place. Mine were like $1,300 if I remember correctly. And he let me pay it out over a few payments. And so, yeah, he'll go over that with you. You will have to have your own truck insurance, so I'm glad you got that. And, of course, you have to be current on your 2290, and I see that you are with that too. So it'll be a pretty easy transition for you, but look for it to take several weeks. Even if he thinks you're the greatest driver that ever walks the earth, it's going to be, several weeks. And he does that by design. It weeds out a lot of people that aren't serious. It weeds out those guys that are just going to work 2 or 3 weeks and quit. It weeds out the guys that aren't sure if they really want to do it or not. That maybe they called him one day when they were just mad at their company, and then they worked everything out with their company, and now they want to stay there. And so he wants to make sure you're serious, that you're committed, because he doesn't like hiring drivers Well, I mean, he likes hiring drivers. He doesn't happen to like hiring replacement drivers. So he doesn't want you to work there and then quit, and he has to find a replacement. He wants you to come there and be happy and stay. And so he's going to make sure that the way he's doing things and the way you're doing things are going to work well together. And I've shared this in other videos. When I first met him, I told my wife, I was like, man, I don't know. I got this vibe that he's going to be a micromanager, and I just don't know. Or he's going to get mad real easy or something like that. And I worked for him, and he's the opposite of micromanagement. I haven't experienced micromanagement one time. Now, he wants you to run legal. He don't want you to get tickets. He don't want you to get DOT violations. But he's not going to be nagging you like you hear about with some companies where he's calling you and going, you've been in the sleeper for 10 hours and 1 minute. Why ain't you driving? See you pulled over for 10 minutes. Why'd you stop? That's not him. He hates the word micromanagement. If you need to pull over and stretch your legs or go to the bathroom, he's not going to call you asking you why you stopped. He's not going to call you typically and ask you about appointment times or nothing unless the broker's called him. Usually the broker will just call you, and usually the way it works, if something's wrong, I call the broker, I work it out, and then I call Scott and I say, hey, this was the problem. I called the broker. This is how we fixed it. And then that way he knows what's going on. He'll typically call you 2 or 3 times a week and just shoot the breeze with you. Hey, how you doing? What's going on? Got any problems? Got any questions? You need anything? And that's it. And so it's so close to having your own authority that it feels like you've got your own authority. You're in total control. And I mean, he's got some ways he wants you to do things like building a trip and things like that, the email chain, stuff like that. But it's nothing overbearing. There's not this weird paperwork like a lot of companies have. He's not hitting you with these silly safety videos that take 2 hours of your time every week and that you don't get paid for. There's none of that. Now, when he gets 150, 200 trucks, who knows what he'll have. I'm just telling you how it is right now. And I've never been happier at a company. And if he calls me while we're on the air and fires me, I'm still going to be saying, hey, you guys need to call this guy. It's a great company. I'm not just saying it because I work here. The Serbian that lived over there. Oh, the Serbian lived over there. He didn't even move to the United States. That's another thing. I'm glad you mentioned that, Ramon. I don't care how great of a dispatcher you are. If you've never even been in the United States and you're not familiar with the rules and the time zones and everything here, how good can you be? I mean, really, they're going to want you to run illegal. They're not going to care. They're in Serbia. How much trouble can they get in over there? If they get in legal trouble, they just close their doors and open another company. Yeah, beer loads are very heavy, and they're a pain in the butt. So the place that I'm leased on to now, easiest way to explain it, if I run 2,000 miles, I'll have a $2,000 check. And your trucking experience, is that any good? 10 to 30,000 pound loads. I'd call that about average. So what you're telling me, after all your expenses, you're netting about $1 a mile. That's about what I netted when I was at Swift. About $1 a mile, maybe 92 cents, something like that, just depending on the load and where I'm at. I'm never going to tell you you're in a bad deal. I would tell you there's places you could make more, but I'd tell you there's places you can make less. Can you make more here at SRO Logistics? Yeah, but you can make less too because you're booking your own loads and you're negotiating your own rates. So if you're good at that, yeah, you can make more. You can make a lot more. But if you've never done it before, there's going to be a learning curve. Maybe in the beginning you don't make as much, but as you learn and as you grow, then you start making more. The thing you've got here at SRO is you've got me and Scott and some of the other guys that work here that we're willing to give you advice and help you. It doesn't benefit none of us for you to fail. So if you got a question, hey, I see this load, what do you think about it? I don't mind giving you my opinion. Now, the problem is some of you want me to do your fuel route for you. Some of you want me to trip plan for you, tell you where to take your breaks, where to get your services done. And I'm at a point where I can't do that level anymore. You're going to have to figure some things out on your own. But if you're in Arizona and you say, hey, I'm looking at some loads going to North Dakota, should I do it? Or I'm looking at some loads that go to New Mexico, should I do it? Or Colorado. I don't mind sharing that information with you, but I'm not going to trip plan for you and tell you where to buy fuel and what kind of oil to put in your truck and things like that, what kind of tires to buy. There's people on YouTube that know a lot more about tires than I do. And there's people on YouTube that know a lot more about trucking than I do. I'm just giving my opinion. But I would say $2,000 a week for 2,000 miles is about average if that's after all the dust settles and you've paid all your fees. So basically, after all expenses, I'm running $1 a mile. Sorry, 102. Yeah. Yep, that's about average, maybe slightly above average. There's guys that'll get on here and lie about their numbers, but it's not bad. But like I said, there's guys doing it for a lot less. There's guys that are doing it for more. So I'll never criticize you or tell you what you're doing is bad or wrong. I'll just tell you if you're not happy with it, things I would change or what I would do. So obviously, if that's true and you're averaging about $1 a mile, if you could get those miles up to about 2,700 or 2,800, you should see that net per mile come up a little bit. But all in all, for 2,000 miles, that's not terrible. And I agree with IH guy who has a really cool truck. I called those Lone Stars transformers. To me, they look like a transformer. But anyway, he said those are light loads. They are light loads. Or for these day and age, it seems like now loads are getting heavier, and these companies trying to save money are packing just as much as they possibly can in a trailer. Midlife Trucker is here. He says 2 hours late. Dang, I'll be checking the replay. Yes, sir. I'm glad you're here. We talked about you earlier in the show. Again, this makes 2 nights in a row. I appreciate you being here. I see that you don't have a wrench. That was the last thing we said about you. And I'm correcting that right now, if it'll let me. Midlife, for some reason, it won't let me give you a wrench. And I don't know why. Do you know why? Maybe I got to do it on this other phone. Give me just a second, guys. We got to take care of Midlife. I was on the wrong phone. Now Midlife has a wrench. So yeah, go back and check it out. We started a membership thing on here, and we've already had 3 people sign up for memberships. It's just a few dollars a month, and they get a little deal beside their name that'll change the longer they're a member. Right now, it's a circle with like 2 lines through it. We're also trying to create some emojis that are special for members. And Shannon Thomas is helping me get that. We know a YouTuber, Cassius King, that has them on his, and he's going to tell us how to do it. And so we're going to have a lot of other benefits coming. We'll have some exclusive content and stuff there as soon as I can figure it out. We may have me using the GoPros there. You never know. So thank you for being here. If you're interested in that, it's right below the video. It'll be a little deal that says join. You click on that, and it'll have all the details. Did find out if you have an iPhone, you have to do it on a computer, though. So that may limit some of the people that can do it. We'll see. But either way, I was just recapping for everybody here. I appreciate you being here, my friend. When looking at compensation, we don't pay our bills based on per mile. We need to think more in terms of per day, per week, per month, per year. Yeah, that's true. That's a good way to look at it. I think trucking in general has messed up a lot of truckers' minds because we do think per mile. And like you said, I try to think revenue per day, and I do it off gross revenue because I know what my expenses are. I get paid after every trip. So I typically look at it on a per day basis. And when I get a settlement, if it's $800, I look at it and go, well, how many days did it take me to make that $800? And that's kind of how I do it. Miss Mother Trucker says she's talking to the guy that's averaging net about $1 a mile. You can definitely make more at Prime. That being said, it depends on your dispatcher. It also depends on you. Yeah, that's I'm sure Miss Mother Trucker knows what I'm talking about. You guys will email me and you'll say, how much can I make at this company? And my answer is usually the same. Well, I don't know. I don't know what kind of driver you are. I don't know how well you drive your truck, how well you manage your business, how well you trip plan. I don't know your dispatcher, whether you self-dispatch or you have a dispatcher, how good they are. There's just so much out of it that is out of predictability. And I can tell you what I did there. If you call me and say, hey, Todd, how much can I make at Swift? I don't know how much you can make at Swift. I can tell you what I made 10 months ago at Swift, but I can't tell you what you'll make at Swift. The market's changed since 10 months ago. Sorry, I just saw a funny comment. I'm trying to stay focused, y'all. Give me a break. I'm trying. He says, no big deal. Screwdriver, hammer, wrench, it doesn't matter. Yeah, you're trying to turn this into a construction site. It's just a wrench. That's all I can give. I'm sorry. Yeah, Miss Mother Trucker likes it over there. She said, but it's not bad at all. She's pretty happy at Prime, but she's kind of found her niche over there. She trains. She's very successful training. She just got a really nice truck. I hadn't seen it yet, but I hear it's really nice. And I imagine she's got some dispatchers that she's built a rapport with. I'll take some guesses here. I bet she picks up her freight on time. I bet she delivers her freight on time. And I bet she takes care of their equipment, doesn't damage their trailers. I bet she has a pretty good attitude when they call her. And I bet that has a lot to do with her success over there. That's why it's hard for me to tell you how good you'd do at her company, because I don't know if you're like her. But, and I said all that. You guys know that, but people will get on here and they'll go, that Miss Mother Trucker, she's just lucky, or they treat her good because she's a girl. And I bet that there's some reasons that they treat her good that it has nothing to do with her being a girl. I bet it has more to do with work ethic and attitude. But that's just my 2 cents. Ramon was concerned about you, Miss Mother Trucker, being in Colorado. Wants to know that you made it safe through Colorado. I've run into people who are making $1.50 a mile or more, but aren't getting many miles. Yeah, and you have to compare apples to apples. That's a great point, midlife. Like you can't compare tanker and dry van or reefer and dry van or flatbed and dry van. Each field is different. You need to look what your peers are making, doing what you're doing. Some drivers are max clock, then 10-hour turn and burn, while other drivers run 8 1/4 or 8 3/4 a day. Yeah, that's true. And, I know some drivers that they're parking every Saturday and Sunday. They don't care. And then I know some guys that they're running recaps every day, trying to squeeze another 15 minutes in. People are different. I know guys that are disciplined enough to run 60 miles an hour and they're getting over 10 miles a gallon. And then I know guys that it's on the floor from the time they wake up till the time they park. This is the first time I've ever had a dispatcher telling me what to do. It's okay, and he's a great guy, but there's nothing like booking your own loads and negotiating your own rates. Yeah, that's and Scott and I had this talk during orientation. He's like, he said something to the effect of, what if it doesn't work out? And I'm like, well, if it doesn't work out, I got to be mad at me. What could I possibly be mad at Scott for? If I don't feel like I'm getting paid enough, then I didn't negotiate good enough rates, or I didn't get myself in a good enough area. If I don't like my truck, it's my truck. I bought it. I need to fix it. You know, um, things like that. There's very little about the only thing he and I could ever bump heads on is if he became super overbearing and controlling about safety, or if I had an accident. It'd have to be safety related, or didn't do my logbooks or something like that. But if I'm being a responsible truck driver, all the fault's on me. So if I get a broker I don't like, just don't work with that broker again. Do the load and don't work with them again. But I've just got to do my part. I've got to deliver on time. I got to deliver freight that's not damaged. And you guys are going to think I'm crazy about this. I asked Scott, I said, do you do something to your trailers? And he said, why? And I said, man, I have not dropped a box. And he said, what do you mean? And I said, well, I hold a load of potato chips, and they just threw potato chip boxes on top of the cases to get more on there. And I drove it like a long distance, over 2,000 miles. And I got to the other end, and the boxes hadn't even moved an inch. I said, these trailers ride so smooth. I'm a good driver, but I ain't that good. And he said he tweaks the suspension a little bit. I don't have any reason to doubt him, but I've never had a trailer that nothing ever bounced, moved, shifted. It looks like I'm still at the shipper when I get to the other end. And that's nice too. I thought for sure when I was hauling those pumpkin loads, because they're in these big cardboard totes and they double stack them in part of the trailer, I was just having nightmares. Hey, these are going to fall. And I strapped them as best as I could, but I thought, well, it's a strap against cardboard. How good's it going to hold? And I got to the other end, and it looked like it had just been loaded. It looked like I drove it across the street. And so, and it's not brand specific because he's got different brand trailers. But man, the first trailer I had was the oldest one in his fleet. It rode smooth. It was ugly, but it rode smooth. And this one's a little newer. It's not the prettiest trailer to ever grace the roadways, but it's mechanically sound and it rides just as smooth. So I know that sounds crazy, but yeah, it's the situation I'm in, the situation I've put myself in. There's really nobody to blame but me. And that's why I say if he calls me in the middle of this show and says, Todd, this ain't working out. I don't like what you said on your YouTube channel. We're done. I'm still going to tell you, hey, you guys need to call Scott because this is the best opportunity I've found in trucking. And I'm not going to, I can't call him with the threat. Well, if you don't do this, I'm just going to go work somewhere better. I'm unaware of anywhere that's better. So I know some of you have hit me with some places you think's better. I haven't experienced anything better in 27 years. I hate that word luck. The better I plan, the harder I work, the luckier I seem to be. Yeah. The other day, a friend of mine used that word luck. He said, you're lucky. You're in the right place at the right time. And he didn't mean it the way I took it. And we later cleared it up in a phone call. But I keep getting told I'm lucky. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just lucky. People are only helping me because of YouTube. I hear that all the time. Trucking companies just kiss my butt because of YouTube. And I'm like, well, but every company I go to, I'm one of the top guys there. How does that keep happening? Nobody has that kind of luck. And if I do have that kind of luck, why can't I win the lottery? Because I'm like you, the harder I work, the luckier I get. And I don't even know if it's harder. The smarter I work, the luckier I get. Now at Roadrunner, it was absolutely, I worked my tail off and I did very, very well at Roadrunner, but I was running over 4,000 miles a week and it was run your 11, park your 10, run. until my clock was gone. I was running my tail off. At Dart, I was on the OPI board. It was running smart, knowing what loads to take, knowing how to negotiate rates, and having Big Brother Dart behind me. If I needed a little leaning on a broker, I could sometimes get Dart to participate, usually not. At Swift, it was all about having a good dispatcher. I worked hard, I ran smart, I managed my fuel as good as I could, but my OOC is what they call him, out of Oklahoma City. He was definitely the secret of my success there, and I did very, very well there. And other drivers that have got on his board, same thing. They do very, very well. He was a former driver, cool guy to talk to. Reminds me of Scott in a lot of ways. And that's the secret to my success. My success here at SRO, let me tell you about that. It's, oh, shoot. It's me not knocking my laptop off the table. That's important. It's picking good loads, having that 4 years of load board experience, but knowing when to take advice too. I've got lots of guys that, and some of you are in the chat now, that I lean on for advice, for instruction. I mentioned earlier in the show about Scott giving me some good advice today. I needed that advice a lot more than I needed a credit card today. Now, next week, it may be the opposite. I may need a credit card a lot worse than I need advice. But yeah, it's just you can't get to a point where you feel like you know everything and nobody can teach you nothing. And even if you feel like you're right about something, you need some people to challenge you sometimes, because they might have a good idea better than yours. And you can always learn something from everybody. Thinking on going to Prime next year. You think I can make $2,500 a week take home? That would be a Miss Mother Trucker question. Miss Mother Trucker, can Ramon, who's a great driver, really smart, knows his stuff, can he take home $2,500 a week as a solo, or would he have to train? Hopefully she's still here and can answer that for you. Kid Behind the Wheel says there's a lot of tips and tricks, and I'll share it with you around 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. A lot of people fall off of loads, and you can jack the broker up to 3. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And sometimes people, and this is a little bit of luck, sometimes people will think, oh, it's getting in the afternoon, there's no loads, I better take this crappy paying load because there's nothing else. But sometimes something will pop up if you're just patient. Maybe somebody thought they could do a load and they got held up at a receiver, or somebody's truck broke down on the way to pick up a load, and that load will pop up real quick, and they're at your mercy. Then they'll do rates that they never thought they would do just because they got to get that load covered. So now it's kind of like, you don't want to live by that, because sometimes you'll get stuck, but don't find yourself taking a load for $1 a mile and then something pop up that you could have got if you'd have just waited a little bit. It's kind of a tough decision to know when to jump and when not to jump. It's even true comparing 88% of Super Ego versus 65% of Prime versus 80-20 somewhere. Yeah, the devil's always in the details. Midlife has another great point. Devil's always in the details. You're going to have a hard time convincing me that Landstar is ever a good deal. I know some of you swear by them. That's fine. I've got a neighbor here that loves Landstar. I get it. There must be something good there. Their drivers love them for the most part. There are some that quit, but there's some that quit everywhere. 88% of Super Ego, they're in a lawsuit now because it's alleged that 88% is not 88% at that company. I think Prime is actually 68%, if I'm not, or 72 or something like that. They seem to be pretty fair on their rates, though. I remember in 2004 when I worked there, the rates were really good for the time. And you've already heard me talk about 80-20s here where I'm at. He does a lot in his 20%. So do I think he's making money off of me? Yeah, I expect him to. Do I think he's ripping me off? No, not at all. Not at all. It'd be a tough sell. Now, somebody may call me one day and convince me, but especially knowing that in another 7 or 8 months, I'm going to go up another 2 cents or 2%, and it'll be an 82-18 split. So, yeah, I don't, with what he includes in his deal and the way he conducts business, I don't feel like I'm getting ripped off. And I haven't called him one time and said, "Hey, Scott, I feel like you're underpaying me. We need to rework my pay package. I just don't think this is going to work." First of all, if I think I'm being underpaid, I need to negotiate better. I need to pick better loads. Um, he's paying. The numbers are market average now because of the way he does it. They're above market average, but they're fair. I don't have any complaints about pay, and I typically don't at companies. Pay's usually not the problem. Miss Mother Trucker says, and another thing, don't be afraid to take that load that doesn't pay anything. Just let them know if it'll help you out. I'll do it for you, but maybe one day you can help me out, and they remember that. Yeah, that's a good point Miss Mother Trucker made, and I just took it down because it was covering up my face and the website. But a lot of these companies on their dispatch screen, it has a page where they can leave comments. And typically the comments are, "This driver doesn't run the Northeast," or "This driver doesn't like multi-stop loads," or "This driver can't do hazmat," or things like that. "This driver needs to be home every 6 weeks," or whatever. But they'll also put comments in there. "This driver's a jerk." Maybe they won't say it that way, but basically, "This driver is difficult to deal with. This driver turns down a lot of loads." Some of them even have a percentage of loads you turn down, things like that. And that goes back to the attitude I was talking about a minute ago. I will guarantee you, if you could get in there and look at Miss Mother Trucker's page, it probably says something about her being a trainer. It probably says something about her being a calm trainer that's easy to deal with drivers. She doesn't offend people easily. And it probably says she takes loads that other drivers won't. She delivers on time. She picks up on time. It probably says a lot about her attitude and work ethic. And so when she calls and does need a favor, "Hey, I just had something come up. I need to be home on this day," then they probably drop everything and try to accommodate her because they can think back to 6 or 7 times when she dropped everything to help them out. So it really is a "you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back" kind of thing. And you really want to, I'm not saying brown nose, but when you're in the terminal, go in there and shake hands, meet people. Say, "Hey, I just wanted to put a face with the name," and meet them, get to know them. Look at the pictures on their desk. If they got kids with softball suits on, "Hey, I see you got some kids that play softball. My kids used to play softball," or "My kids didn't play that, but they played soccer," which mine played both. I can tell you some funny stories about that one day. But yeah, just try to be a relatable person. And I'll guarantee you, when you walk away from their desk, they're going to put a note in their computer about you. And not only they're going to see it, but Night Dispatch and everybody's going to see it. And a lot of people's first impressions of you are going to be based on what they saw in the office. Professional appearance, be clean shaven, smell good. Those kind of things make a difference. Don't show up in your flip-flops and beach clothes, scratching your butt and saying the F word every other sentence. That's not what they want to see. They know when you go out, you're representing the company. Look like a good representative. Here's something that'll make you laugh. I always keep my BOL in the same place. Got to a scale, couldn't find my BOL for anything, searching all over. I was empty. Oh, that's funny. I did something equally embarrassing. I was at a Love's and I parked, and I still swear that I parked in this one spot. And man, I walked around about an hour looking for my truck. And I even called Scott. I said, "Scott, I think we got a problem." He's like, "All right, Todd, what's up?" I said, "I can't find my truck. Can you look and see if it's moving?" And he gets on the ELD, and I'm embarrassed as I can be about this. He goes, "No, it shows it's parked at a Love's." And he tells me the row and everything. And it was one row off. It was on the row I thought it was on. I was like, yeah, it's showing the same row I thought I parked it on. The truck was literally almost directly right behind me where I was standing. I said, I don't know what's wrong with me, Scott. I don't know if I'm tired, I'm burnt out, what. He's like, that's all right. Just calm down, walk around a minute, take a couple deep breaths. You'll be all right. And sure enough, I walked around a minute, got my head back, hopped in the truck, and went on down the road. But man, that's bad when you can't even remember where you parked. Miss Mother Trucker says, and yes, I made it. I'm in Denver waiting to take a load out tomorrow. Yeah, Miss Mother Trucker put out a video earlier today I saw. I think it was just a short. She was kind of frustrated. The truck stop she was at, she saw a case of beer sitting next to a trash can, and she was kind of frustrated that drivers would drink in their truck, which is illegal even if you don't drive. Company policy where I'm at, he doesn't want you drinking if you're under a load, whether you're on your 34 or not. If there's freight in your trailer, doesn't matter if you're in a hotel, don't drink. If you want to drink, wait till your trailer's empty, go to a hotel and take a 34. And I think that's reasonable. I hold myself to a higher standard because I know you guys are watching me all the time. So you're never going to catch me drinking in my truck or doing anything like that. First of all, I'm not that heavy of a drinker. And if I want to drink, I'll just wait till I get home, or I'll wait till I'm on a 34 in a hotel somewhere. Although with the breakdowns to my truck this week, I've definitely wanted a drink. Paula, do we have any Crown? Ah, Paula said we've got Crown. I may be drinking tonight, come to think of it. Up, she rolled her eyes. No, I'm in trouble. She's joking. I will not be drinking tonight, according to her. She's joking. It's a joke between us. I make her sound like real mean and controlling, but she's like the most passive, nice person you'll ever meet. She's Miss Mother Trucker says the only thing that's going to be better is when you start your own company. Yeah, I agree, and I'm not even sure that's better. I've seen, I've gone to dinner with Scott a couple of times, and I've seen all the telemarketing calls he gets for factoring and all the stuff like that, brokerage companies, and I'll go ahead and say it, whiny drivers. And I'm not sure I want that. You guys might remember a while back, a few viewers wanted me to get big enough I could start my own trucking company. And I'm just not sure it's worth it. For, let's say that Scott's part after a year is 18% on me. Let's say half of that is profit, and I'm not even sure half of it's profit. Let's say it is. For a 9% bump in pay, you think about all the extra insurances you got to buy, all the extra liability you've got on you, pressures. I don't know that it's worth it. I'm loving what I'm doing right now. If I can get this personal debt and truck situation straight, I'll be the happiest I've ever been in my life. So I don't know that I'd be any better with my own company. When I say he lets me do pretty much whatever I want, I mean, I can't go to Canada. I can't go to Oregon. Can't go to Colorado or California. I don't know that I'd go there if I could. I'd probably go to California if I could. But if you tell me the worst thing's ever going to happen to me in my life is I can't go to Oregon, I'll be okay with that. Sorry, a lot of times YouTube hurts us. Yeah. What I'd say about YouTube made me better because I didn't give a crap before I started this channel. And then people started asking me questions, and I saw the impact it was having on people. And I realized real quick I needed to straighten up and take it a little more seriously. I mean, I could tell you stories about people that's lost their house, and I helped them. People that got their cars repossessed, and I helped them. I mean, relationships, just all kinds of stuff. And so what would happen? Let me give you some scenarios here. Let's say I help somebody, and we'll just use Miss Mother Trucker because of her comment. Let's say she calls me and she's having trouble at Prime, and she's like, Todd, can you help? Can you talk to somebody? Can you mediate? And I say, sure. And I call Prime and I get a hold of somebody, tell them who I am, and we work something out. Then let's say the next weekend, Miss Mother Trucker sees me at a brothel or at a strip club, and I'm drunk and getting in my truck. What is she going to think about me? She's going to think, what a hypocrite, what a liar, what a fake. And, it might change her perception of trucking or all kinds of things. So I even if you guys don't, I hold myself to a higher standard. And I realize none of you are expecting me to be the preacher of your church. None of you are expecting me to be perfect. But you're expecting me to be at least a reflection of what you see on here. And so when you ask me a question, I do my best to get you accurate information. If I don't know, I call people that I think might know and ask them. And I try to do the best I can. It makes me feel good when you guys say that the show's funny, or that you find it entertaining, or that you learn something when you watch, because that's the goal. For us to all help each other. There's plenty of other people that's going to tear us down. We need to be trying to help each other. Matthew Miller's here. Hey, thanks for coming in, man. Glad you could make it. We're still going strong. I can't believe it. We're over 2.5 hours. And I told my wife when I did this video, I go, this is going to be a short one tonight. I'm just going to tell them about the truck. It's Friday night. They're not going to want to talk to me. They're going to want to do their thing. But it's still going strong. You guys, our views are down. We're down to about 25 right now, but comments are still coming strong, and they're good comments. So we'll keep it going. It's Baby Simone. Does Swift have a great lease? I would say they have a good lease. I don't know if it's great. I mean, right now, I don't think there's any lease that's great. They're a last resort. If you can't put a down payment and go buy your own truck, then they're an alternative. The barrier to entry is a lot less. I can tell you I made a lot of money at Swift, most money I've ever made. And I can tell you for the most part, I was happy there. They had some of the problems that big companies have. Sometimes getting the littlest problem fixed, you had to go through several departments, and it could take some time. Now, if I have a problem, I just call the owner of the company, Scott, and we deal with it right then. And I either get my way or don't get my way, but at least I get an answer. But all in all, I had a good experience at Swift. I think they get a bum rap a lot of times. I do think they're a good company, but I'm not a big fan of any lease right now. When you go out and buy your own truck, and I'm one of those that I think if you're doing a lease purchase, you're an owner operator. I don't fault you for doing that. But when you buy your own truck, so many options open up to you that weren't there before. And I mean dedicated runs and all kinds of things, because they know you've got your own truck and you've got choices. So I would say if you can stay a company driver and save up some money and buy a truck, down payments are getting cheaper even with bad credit. If you can get $2,500 to $10,000 to put down and don't make that all your money, have some extra for repairs and other expenses. But if you can comfortably put, $2,500, $5,000, $10,000 down, get you a nice truck of your own. And then if you want to go to Swift, lease onto them with your own truck. Or if you want to try the spot market like I am, come over here with me. And I think you'll be a lot better off. But I still don't talk bad about Swift. I had a good experience there. I just, I think that ship sailed. When I bought a truck, I kind of outgrew them. And it was sitting in storage, and I was fixing it little by little. And I decided to take a shot with it. I had a wreck with it, totaled it. And so I bought this truck and just proceeded on. So it's been a great deal, but I'm definitely grateful to Swift and the opportunity that they presented me there. But I wouldn't call it a great lease. I'd call it a good lease. Miss Mother Trucker says it depends on you. It depends on your dispatcher. But yes, absolutely. My solo week this week was almost 3. So there you go. This is from earlier. Ramon was asking, who, by the way, is the very first member of the channel. Man, that means a lot to me, Ramon. You just don't even know. He was asking if he could net 2,500 a week at Prime as a solo driver. And according to Miss Mother Trucker, you can if you got a good dispatcher. She said she netted almost 3,000 this week without a student. So if you're willing to train, I think it'd be a little easier. But yeah, you could do it. Midlife says each carrier has different negotiating power. Landstar can get a bit more rate than some carriers because of their top 10 rating and per hire carriers. Same with Prime. Yeah, the problem with Landstar is you have to go through all those agents, and those agents take a cut, and it can get chopped down. And you never see the rate con, so you don't know if you're truly getting 65% of the load or not. I've debated with Landstar drivers forever, and I finally, that's why I've adopted this policy. If you're happy where you're at, I'm not going to try to talk you out of it or tell you it's a bad company. So to my Landstar brethren out there, if you're happy at Landstar, I'm happy for you. Like I said, I've got a neighbor. I say neighbor. He lives about a quarter of a mile from me. That he loves Landstar. He would die for them. So they definitely have a loyalty to them. They're not my thing, and I guess that's why there's so many companies. We can all pick what we want. Gary Cook says, would you ever buy your own trailer? So there's a funny story about that too. Let me take a sip of Coke Zero before we jump into that. I hear my voice going away. I'm expecting a slow weekend while the truck's in the shop, so hopefully I'll get my voice back for next week. Would I ever consider buying my own trailer? Gary Cook says. Absolutely. Another thing, prior to going to orientation with Scott, I had told him, I just want to use your trailer for a couple of months and then I want to go get my own. And what I found is in the deal I've got right now, Scott covers trailer maintenance. And my trailer payment's actually cheaper than what I could buy one on my own. Now, some of that's credit. My credit is not great right now. And so I'm going to pay a premium for a trailer. Some of you with golden credit, you could get a trailer close to what Scott pays for one. But even if I could match Scott, let's say I found a trailer that was the exact monthly payment of what I pay now. I'd have to cover maintenance. I'd have to cover tires. I don't have to cover that stuff now. I've had like 4 trailer tire blowouts in the time that I've been here. And so I would have had to pay for all that. So now in the 75-25 deal with Scott, I wouldn't have a trailer payment even. So I go out and get a trailer for $800 or $1,000 a month. I've got that payment plus maintenance, and it doesn't make sense. So, if at some point Scott changed the program and it made sense to buy a trailer, I probably would. But as long as it makes sense to do it this way, I'm going to keep doing it this way. And I don't know if I've told this story. I've got another friend that works at Roadrunner, and he had 2 trailers. And he basically had them set up with Roadrunner at these 2 terminals, and he would do drop and hook at both ends. And the problem he ran into was warehouses tearing his trailer up to where he couldn't do his drop and hook. He constantly had one of his trailers in the shop getting repaired because the warehouses was tearing them up and going, well, we didn't do that. And I mean, stretching the walls, poking holes, he had it all happen. And so he ended up selling his 2 trailers and just pulling Roadrunner trailers. So he didn't have the headaches associated with owning a trailer. Every carrier can negotiate a really good one, but the big carriers get those better rates consistently because they have the capacity. There's a lot of truth to what Midlife is saying right there. I can't I can't dispute that. Miss Mother Trucker says sometimes it's better to wait till the next morning to grab a load and be first in line. Yeah, that's true too. Timing is everything. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Miss Mother Trucker said Prime gives you a lot more than 65%. When I was there, I think it was 72%. It was either 68 or 72. I don't remember. She clarified it. It's still 72%. And back then they had a mileage guarantee every 100,000 miles. So they would set a rate. And if at the end of the 100,000 miles you wasn't at that rate, they would pay you the difference between where you was at and that rate. I don't know if they still do that part of it or not, but I'm glad it's still 72%. The point is that Prime 72% can be higher than Fly-by-Night's 85 due to the negotiating power of being a top 20 carrier for our. Well, I'll tell you another advantage over Prime over these Fly-by-Nights is when you get down to tires and maintenance. This week is a great example in my situation. If I was a Prime driver and my truck was doing this, I'd have booked a load to Springfield and I'd have got it fixed right there at their terminal because the shop rate would have been cheaper. They've got connections with the local dealers. They could have got it fixed right there. So that's definitely a Prime advantage. Their tire discount's usually going to be bigger, things like that. So there's definitely some big advantages that I enjoyed both at Dart and at Swift. Not so much at Roadrunner, but at Dart and Swift especially. But there's also some advantages to being with a small carrier like I'm at now. Let's see. Midlife says, I've got items with Apple AirTags that stay in the truck. I've used my iPhone to find the truck a couple of times. Well, good. That makes me feel better that I'm not a complete moron because I was so embarrassed. And I hadn't been with Scott that long when I called him. And I'm sure he was thinking, what did I hire? What a country bumpkin. But I haven't had that happen since then. And I think I was just wound up. I get wound up sometimes. Don't shake your head. I thought you were shaking your head at me. Miss Mother Trucker. Networking is huge in our industry and willfully underestimated. Yeah, and to that extent, maybe YouTube does help me a lot because I go into places and I get recognized sometimes, and maybe that does help me. But I think walking in with a smile and not the first words out of my mouth, I'm here to pick up a load. Hey, how's everybody doing today? What are y'all up to? You know, kind of break the ice a little bit. And then, we're doing good. We're doing this. Computers are down. That stinks. I hate when that happens. Typical Monday, or you say something like that. And you kind of loosen them up a little bit. And then they remember you. And it makes a difference. I know it sounds crazy. And some of you are like, you're kissing up. I'm really not. I'm just a friendly guy. I'm going to be nice to you, even if you can't benefit me in any way, until you make it impossible for me to be nice to you. Colby Stockton says, I made it, Trucker Todd. Good evening, sir. Good evening, Colby. Thanks for coming in. Midlife Trucker says his daughter turned 21. I literally have not been drunk in her lifetime. Yeah, being drunk kind of wears off when you're young. Like, you love to brag about it when you're young. And now you're like, why do I want to feel like crap the next morning? If something tastes good, you're like, yeah, I'll drink one or two of those, but I don't have any desire to drink and get drunk because I'm going to feel it the next morning. I don't want to have a headache. Everything already hurts when I wake up in the morning. I don't want to add a headache to it. Ramon says, hey, Todd, go pick up Gary and have a boys' night out in the vet. Yeah, that's not the car you want to go have a boys' night out in because it's flashy. It draws a lot of attention to it. And you park that somewhere and walk into a bar or restaurant or something, and it may not be there when you get back. Those cars aren't as hard to steal as modern cars. And yeah, I don't think that'll be happening. And then cops also pay attention to it. And that's all you need to do is have a couple of drinks at the Texas Roadhouse and then get pulled over by the cops with your CDLs. And that was like a 24 pack. Yeah. Yep. I could tell you some stories about that too, but it's probably not appropriate. Some of you would change your opinions of me. Oh yeah, I had it happen today. Miss Mother Trucker said she's talking about YouTube hurting us because people will call in on us and make up shit to our companies. It does not work to our favor when it comes to work in other companies that we work for. Yeah, some trucking companies don't even want to hire YouTubers because they know the drama that can come with it. As recently as today, there was a YouTuber spreading a rumor that I had had another accident, and nothing could be further from the truth. I hadn't worked in several days. My truck's been at the Peterbilt dealer. So, and they admit on their channel they make stuff up, but it gets clicks, it gets views. I know Miss Mother Trucker had a problem with people making up stuff about her. And the sad thing is, we talk about truck drivers tearing each other down. A lot of these people that are doing this aren't even truck drivers, don't even have a CDL. So before I announced where I was working, I told Scott, I said, hey, you may get some weird emails. You may hear recordings with my voice. Don't believe anything you see or read. Call me and let's talk about it, because, I mean, with AI technology now and computers, they can make you say stuff. They can make you do stuff. And this is when it's important to be of good character. So when that kind of stuff comes up, people go, well, I know Todd, he wouldn't do that. I know Miss Mother Trucker, she wouldn't do that. Gary Cook said, will Cordell allow you to push back your truck payments back towards the end so you're not getting behind? Sorta. So what Cordell has let me do in very, very, very limited circumstances is like do a payment and a half 1 week or a double payment. They're not going to let you get very far behind, but they sort of kind of work with you, I guess I'd say. They don't have as much flexibility as I'd like, but they're not like rock hard. If you don't pay by Friday, on Saturday, we're coming to get it. They're not there. They realize the market's tough. And it's not actually Cordell at that point. It's a company called River Valley Capital. And they're the same company, but different company kind of deal in the same building. But River Valley Capital seems a lot more flexible and easy to work with than Cordell does, in my opinion. Yeah, here's an example. This is a great point by Miss Mother Trucker. We're going to pop it up real quick. She said fuel discount, maintenance is dirt cheap. Yeah, they get a good fuel discount. That doesn't incentivize me too much because I've got my own fuel card. But maintenance is dirt cheap, $75 an hour. In contrast to that, the shop where my truck is $170 an hour. So if I was a prime driver right now, they had 8 hours of labor at $95 an hour. I would have saved almost $800 on that repair bill. And so that's why I say sometimes working for a big company can have a benefit too. Midlife says when he was at Millis, someone called in and said that he cut them off and gave them the finger. The problem was they took the time and date off my dash cam footage, and my clock was off by a few days. Oh yeah, I had with an ex-wife, her boyfriend was afraid I was going to beat him up, and he called the company I was working for at the time and told them I tried to run over him with the truck. And they said, well, when did this happen? And he gave them a date and time, and they looked, and I was 2 hours away in Amarillo when he said it happened. So they called me laughing about it. They said, hey, Todd, how are you able to be at two places at once? I said, what do you mean? They said, well, we just got a call that you ran over or tried to run over somebody with your truck in Slayton, Texas. And we know for a fact you're in Amarillo right now. And I said, was the guy's name? And I'd said the guy's name. Yep, that's him. And they said, well, we knew it wasn't true. We just wanted to tell you we thought it was kind of funny. But people, especially when you're on YouTube, they'll make stuff up about you. And that's why I'm a little scared to put Trucker Todd decals on the truck, because then people know right where I'm at. And they'll see me on Interstate 70 and they'll say, ah, well, I saw Trucker Todd going down 70, smoking a joint and mooning people. And they'll look on the dash cam, the ELD, and go, well, he was there. Maybe he was. And hopefully that's where my character comes in. Hopefully at that point, Scott will go, no, they probably don't like his YouTube videos and they're just making stuff up. Todd's not a guy that would do that. Hopefully. Now, who knows? But that's what you hope for in those situations. Midlife says, I wasn't anywhere near where they said I was. And it was a good thing because it ended up saving you. You'd have been in a lot of trouble if you'd have been within 5 or 10 miles of where they said. No Fear says, hey, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. Yes, sir. Thank you for being here. We've had a fun night. We're creeping up on 3 hours. And we're down to 26, but the comments are still popping. So we're still rolling through them. We started the membership thing today. We've had 3 people sign up, and it's really surprised me and made me proud. I didn't think it was going to happen, but I'm glad to see it. And so we're just kind of talking. I gave the details about the truck and what's going on with it, the Corvette, what's going on with it. If you hadn't seen those things, when you get a chance, watch the replay. A lot of good information there, especially in the first 30 minutes about that. Daryl says, Todd, I just shut down at the pilot in Tonkawa, Oklahoma. Been a long day. Yes, sir, it has. I started at about 8:30 this morning, and both phones were just blowing up. And I was returning calls as fast as I can, trying to get ready so I could go drop my wife off at work, trying to find out about the Kenworth, trying to call the finance company, trying to keep everybody in the loop that needs to be in the loop. And it was a hectic morning that I wasn't expecting. And I didn't sleep great last night. I've been having trouble sleeping. Just stress is really getting to me. So I'll be glad when we get some answers and things kind of slow down a little. Somebody described my life as a roller coaster, and it definitely feels like that sometimes. Ramon says 3 hours and counting. Yeah, and I think Ramon's been here for all of it, or close to all of it. Miss Mother Trucker says, good night, my friends. Take care. Keep the shiny side up. Yeah, you too. Enjoy your 34-hour break, and we'll catch you on the next one. Be careful out there. So I'm going to pull that off so y'all can see the website real quick and give everybody a chance to type some more comments. If not, we'll wrap it up at the 3-hour mark. But yeah, if you look at that blue line across the bottom, it's got the email, the website, how to contact Scott if you want to know more about SRO logistics. And then if you click on the title of the video under the screen, you can see the description. There's a lot of great information as well there. A lot of people have been going to the website lately, and I appreciate that. I need to update it and put some more stuff on there. I'll do that here real soon. I've got some emails out to some people that they wanted me to put some of their content on here, and I'm waiting to hear back from them. The problem was some of the stuff they said I didn't completely agree with, and I asked them if they were comfortable with me making a video and kind of adding my 2 cents worth in there. But that's kind of where that's at. I told the insurance guy thanks, but no thanks, so he won't be appearing on here. Ramon says, good night, Miss Mother Trucker. Be safe. I think that's a good thing. I think we should all do that. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. We're at the 3-hour mark. I appreciate each and every one of you being here, and to my 3 new members for joining us today. We'll catch you on Tuesday night. If I've got anything newsworthy between now and then to talk about, I'll make a recorded video. or we'll go live just like this. Make sure you're subscribed so you get that notification when they come out. Ramon says, you have a good night, Todd. Hope you get your truck soon. Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you for joining me on another one. No Fear also says, good night, everyone. Be safe all. Thank y'all so much. I hope I didn't miss any comments. We're checking out. Good night, y'all.